Full-scale invasion of the Ukraine by Russia underway this morning, sending global stocks tumbling. Energy markets, on the other hand, spiking to the upside as oil touches its highest levels since 2014. $100 for crude oil this morning, 105 for Brent currently. We'll keep an eye on both at this point. Market's going to be very headline sensitive once again this morning. If you're looking for what is leading at this point, bank stocks under significant pressure to the downside, along with travel stocks, all of them, airlines, cruise lines, even the hotels getting hit pretty badly here in early trading. We'll have a look at that group coming up. To the upside, on the other hand, some of the metal prices bouncing significantly, including gold prices up more than 3%, nearing that 2,000 an ounce level for gold once again. So gold stocks worth having a look at this morning. Crypto stocks, anything related to cryptocurrency is going to be under significant pressure, along with Bitcoin once again this morning. The move this morning comes after that sell-off we saw yesterday, late in the day once again. The Dow fell 1.3, S&P 1.8, 2.6 overall for the NASDAQ. To wrap up yesterday, it's Thursday, February 24th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, there we go. Look at how things stand at this point. Going to be a pretty red day right across the board here. 3.5% right now about for the NASDAQ, leading things to the downside. 2.5 for both the Dow and the S&P. I guess 2.7 there now for the S&P 500. Futures here in Toronto pointing to a 1.8% decline at the open. Brazil tumbling already. They are trading. Yeah, there's Ethereum down nearly 10% in the early going here. Bitcoin about 5.8 right now. Crude oil, meanwhile, 8%. To the upside. So energy stocks going to be big movers on the day so far today. We just got preliminary Q4 GDP there for the U.S. Came out 7% in line with 7% expected. So economic growth kind of where it should be, or where everyone expecting it to be. Good morning, guys. It is an interesting morning setting up here. Obviously, to kick things off, we need to say, our thoughts are with anyone affected by this indirectly or directly, this continued event over in Ukraine by Russia. We send our thoughts to them. We will do our best to keep this, market related and stock related. On that note, we have a lot to talk about this morning when it comes to earnings. So many earnings reports to get through. We have oil stocks to deal with. We have travel stocks to deal with. Going to be an interesting day.
Look, it's you have to separate like left brain, right brain sometimes investing and trading. There's going to be plenty of trading opportunities, and I get it. I saw someone in the chat this morning say, man, sometimes it doesn't feel good to make money shorting. You've got to be able to turn that off and just trade what is in front of you, because you go down the wrong line when you start thinking those ways. Yeah. If you want to be a trader here today. Admittedly, when I went to bed, I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna be talking 11/8 earnings, and there'd be a chance to trade that. There's gonna be, Alibaba and Moderna reported, so we're gonna be all over those names. And then you come in and you see things like, NCLH reported down 9%. NEO's down 11%. Nvidia, my quote board it's kind of crazy looking at the quote board. I can sort it by percentages, and this is just what I'm looking at. But the number of names that are not necessarily garbage companies, but down in the 5 to 10% range is huge. Tesla broke 700. It's at 700 right now. So it feels like there's going to be a lot to look at. That's why we're going to go through some of the ideas that we think are tradable around key levels, what we're looking for, because you've got to narrow that list. And I actually said this we have a couple of traders that are back on the floor. I said this to Brandon. If you don't, this 930 is crazy enough as it is. Yeah. Sitting it out today, if you're a new trader or a novice trader, you don't have any great ideas, be patient, because a day like today, it's going to get whippy at that open. I expect a lot of New York stocks don't even open up right away.
Yeah, probably not. And welcome, guys. And yeah, look, it's going to be an exciting day regardless of, I'm already long. Okay, here we go. So I'm already long into Microsoft. And I said with Peter Schiff, he was talking about downfalls. And I said, mine is my buy key. And of course, I come in here and I see Microsoft down at 270. It's on the sticky note. We've bought it. It's already in the money 50 cents right now. But look, I think, and what I posted on the sticky note today is I think this is a great buying opportunity if you have some powder. And it's like, you know what? I want to deploy some capital. I don't think this is like, oh, it's mortgage the house kind of time. But you get names here now that are on the invasion, unfortunately, down that really have nothing to do with this. So obviously airlines, like we mentioned there, some of the travel names, some of the banks greatly affected. But I feel like, you know, there could be some money coming into this market right away off the open. So I think Neil's advice of like sit back, relax a little bit here off the open might be right. But I do want to be long something, and we're long Microsoft right now. There's so many names. Like you just said, pick your poison. And it was like, I looked over, AMD's at 103. I didn't even write that down. By the way, my pen started to lose ink on here, so I got to get a new pen. But you know, and it's just one of those things where we got to pick our poison. And we picked Microsoft, and right now we're long. It's at 271, and we're long at 270.50. We'll see how this day goes, but we're going to be hunting shorts all day. I like Bob at 100.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not a good report for Alibaba. Moderna as well reporting. Lemonade also to the downside in a big way this morning. So lots to get through. Before we go too far though, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, team. I wish you all the luck today and wishing you a profitable day. Please don't forget to like this video, and let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, let's get it started, guys. Lots to get through here as we head towards 9:30, under an hour to go. Here's the headline on that Alibaba, guys. It was the slowest revenue growth since the company went public for Alibaba. So it doesn't get much worse when it comes to Baba's report. We'll talk about Alibaba and Lemonade, as I mentioned, another one. Down significantly here, but I mean, the lowest revenue growth since going public in this quarter for Alibaba.
Oh, man.
Yeah, look, when the argument for sort of bucking all of the regulatory and headline risks that you have in Alibaba, when that notion is its valuation and the fundamentals behind it, yeah, having that line, the slowest revenue growth, you don't want to have that. It's just, you can't. And now you're in uncharted territory because what was pretty solid support has just been broken significantly. Like you had this 108, 109 level, which was just on the daily chart, an absolute wall for Alibaba. And when you break down like this, to me, it's just, I don't know how you're looking for a long unless it's one of those like, hey, scalp off a $100 level. But if it's below that 108, 109, then I'm shorting into that level for sure in Alibaba. You look for stocks that are getting into new territory when you want to have momentum trades, and that is an absolute breakdown from what I can see. Maybe it catches a bit of a bounce off 100, but below that 108, 109, it's got to be shorted. The 100 break actually, like technically it already happened. You'll see in the pre-market it got there, but obviously the open market's a bit of a different story. So I would say that the 100 is still in play, even if it did legitimately print below that very briefly this morning.
Yeah, apparently TikTok is also eating their lunch. Like, I never thought about that. Like, booming trend of live streaming e-commerce we have written down on our, get our watch list, watchlist.tradertv.live. We are going to have Rahim Alani coming on from OCI Group in just a second to talk some oil, gold, things like that. But yeah, I mean, wow, just an absolute disaster. I remember when Charlie Munger was talking about buying Chinese stock. You know how old Charlie Munger is, by the way?
I actually don't. I mean,
He's
80s?
98.
He's 98? No.
Okay.
He's older than the Queen?
He's old. He's 98, apparently. Apparently. Anyway, so let's not take financial advice.
I know that.
But no, just playing around. Yeah, still wise dude. But yeah, so when he was calling crypto a disease, he was also saying that it might be time to buy some Chinese stocks. And Alibaba was one of those names, right? And I mean, since then, obviously, we've seen it drop 30%. From 130, this was just 130 a week ago, and now today you're testing a hundy. I like the 100 break on this name. I think that if you're going to be in at something and money's going to come in, why would it come in on a Chinese name right now? I don't see that. I mean, I am long Microsoft. I want to be long some companies that I feel have been beat down. Alibaba is obviously one of those names, but I don't want a company with political risk associated with it, especially one in China right now. We've seen what's happened with Russia. There's a pink sheet name here, SBRCY, that came from our friend Jeff Mendel. I'm going to show it to you right now. And I apologize, I'm going to get the name here, SBRCY here. This is Sberbank of Russia. It's an ADR, and this one yesterday closed $9. This is a Russian bank. Today, it has a 2 handle on it. So $9 yesterday, Russian bank, SBRCY here on the pink sheets, today has a 2 handle on it. And unfortunately, our charts aren't going to go back, so I can't really show you where we're coming from. But here's one from eSignal. This was $20 back in November. Neil, can you believe that? $20 in November for this stock. $2 today. What are you, Clover? All right, that's enough shots.
Actually, Skills is better than that.
I don't know, but
Skills is like 12 to 2. That's 20 to 2.
But the thing is, this happened overnight, right? Like this really went from 20 to 8. I mean, if it's not a Russian bank, maybe it's a little bit heavier than that, but or lighter than that, I guess, down to 250. Anyways, SBRC. Look, what the talk was about is that I think Alibaba's a short. We'll find some key levels. I love that 108 level, but we may not get that. So let's wait to see if we get a 100 break. I like that short, Brendan.
Buybacks. Okay, let's bring in Rahim Alani here, Managing Director of OCI Groups here in Toronto. We're going to discuss some Canadian opportunities on this side of the border. A lot of the names that we will mention, though, will have dual listings. So some on the NASDAQ, some on the NYSE, even OTC. Great to see you.
Likewise.
Thanks for coming in once again this morning. Obviously a difficult morning, but still, the market is open, so we need to continue and discuss ways that we can, position ourselves accordingly and take advantage of some opportunities here. As we've said in the past, the economy on this side of the border, very heavily weighted on the energy side, very heavily weighted on the metal and mining side of things. So, I mean, oil's $100 today. Gold back to near 2,000.
Yeah, gold 1950 this morning. Oil's crashing over 100 here. So, and again, like you said, Canada's heavily skewed to that. Some of the things that we've talked about here are things related to the share buybacks as well. So when these prices start to creep down, companies are stepping in with the share buybacks. They've got excess amounts of cash. And now with oil creeping above this $100 level, they're going to go out back into spending. They're going to go into levels where they were, 10, 15 years ago, and look to monetize the fact that they're back up above 100. So you can look at some of these smaller energy players as well, who are going to get sort of that trickle-down effect from the bigger guys.
We've seen over the past couple of days, we've seen, in the U.S. specifically, very tiny micro cap energy related stocks going absolutely crazy. They are again today. Give us a few to maybe keep an eye on the Canadian side.
So on sort of the other way that you might want to look at this, there's a company called Gibson. I was reading an article this morning. They're a large cap oil and gas player, and they're affected by the potential pipeline issues that are happening. And so that's why I mentioned the buybacks, because if their share prices come down, they're saying our share prices come down, nothing's really fundamentally changed. We'll go out and buy back our stock, because oil's back above 100. So, a couple of names that we've mentioned here previously, like a Cardinal Energy, Tamarack. These are nice sized names, and you can go in and take advantage of that leverage off of the the oil moving up.
One of the ideas I was kind of mulling over the past couple of days, 2014 highs or 2014 levels, at least for crude oil itself this morning. If you go into a higher time frame, daily chart, weekly chart of some of these companies, what are the ones that aren't at 2014 levels yet, and see if we can't catch a little bit of a move.
Yeah. So again, that's sort of how that bifurcates against where we are, like you said, where we are today. Because some of the companies that are here now weren't around in 2014.
Right.
That is the other way to look at that, right? So it's the companies that survived that last 5, 6, 7, 8 years where the oil price did fluctuate severely. But again, something that like a Gibson might be something to look at. A Tamarack would be something to look at. A Cardinal is one that we've quite liked, and it's done phenomenally well.
Got a GDP number out this morning in the U.S. that was kind of in line with expectations, but on that, March is when we will get an interest rate hike for the first time in the U.S. Going back years. Inflation hasn't been as bad in Canada, but is still an issue, obviously. So some of the growth-related stocks on this side of the border, also, as I said, some interlisted here that we'll talk about. But is it getting to a point where we can maybe try testing some of these out?
You know what? That's again, if we could predict the future, we'd all sit at home in shorts and pajamas and sit behind our screens and trade and make money. So it's tough to say. And like you said, inflation isn't as dominant as it is in the U.S., but it is still a cause for concern on one side of the ledger. On the other side, it's phenomenally well. RBC, Canada's biggest bank, announced their numbers this morning, gangbusters for Q1. Huge. Huge numbers that they're putting up. And again, how that trickles down into the economy, right? As inflation moves up, consumer spending, et cetera, credit cards. And so it's depending on how you want to look at that, right? But with the spending economy, people do feel that that's going to continue to sort of creep up.
Yeah.
With inflation.
Let's jump into a few names here to maybe kind of put in people's mind and look for opportunities. Yeah,
and again, around that play with respect to consumer spending. So Shopify was the first one that we thought might be interesting to look at. Shopify sort of is one of our biggest, it is our biggest Canadian tech company. And people look at it relative to an Amazon and how that sort of looks. And Shopify, and again, with Canadians, the way we sort of are, we don't overstep our bounds. We don't sort of go out and say, it's going to be a gangbuster quarter. It's sort of like, hey, this is what we've done and this is what's happening. And as you can see on this chart, Shopify has dipped significantly off. And that's simply because they said we're not going to be as growth heavy as we were last year. And it's sort of impossible to do given how quick last year grew, right? So saying that you're not going to be as strong as last year is not really a thing, given how strong last year was, right? And if you look at year over year, growth is going to continue. And all they should have really said was, hey, our growth is going to be in line with where we're going. You simply can't keep growing at that same pace. So that's what they did. They announced some increased spending as well. And so people took both of those things to be sort of earnings are going to suffer, and they could have defended it a little bit better, but it's a large cap name and one that you can definitely look at.
It's historically been, I was reading an interesting article going back a couple of weeks now, but it's historically been not a good place to be. If you are Canada's biggest tech company, it's never been, the spot that you kind of want to covet. If you go back in history, I mean, BlackBerry was there for a long time. Yeah. Where are they now? But I mean, Shopify coming back to interesting levels here. You have to say. What's next here?
Lightspeed. It's one that we've talked about a few times. And again, that was one I think around Christmas. They crossed, or just prior to Christmas, they were announcing gangbuster numbers. They crossed, I think it was $100, or they're getting up to the $100 level. And a short report came out against them, and we had talked about that the day of. And again, not really defending it as well as they could have or should have, and the stock has now dipped down into just about the $40 level, I believe is where it's come down to. So, business model hasn't changed. They feel like they'll still be out there getting their devices into restaurants, and as the world starts to open up. So if you look at the way of the world and people going back out into malls and restaurants and shopping, Lightspeed terminals should be everywhere. Might that impact their pricing going forward? Potentially, but again, when someone comes out with a short report, you don't really defend yourself too well. These are the things that happen to you.
Yeah, it was a decent report too. Yeah. Going back to their last one. Yeah. I mean, they have action in a lot of different areas of the overall market. Yeah. Give us one more.
So we had talked about NVEI. Yeah. The same sort of thing. They had a short report that came out against them. They're in the tech space. They work with the Stripes of the world. And a short report came out. Numbers are still going to be solid year over year. But again, if you're not defending yourself against the short reports, that are saying that numbers aren't going to be as strong as they are meant to be, then these are the things that happen. So NVEI is an interesting number. They still should have better numbers coming into 2021 relative to 2020. But again, you can't just keep growing at 100% or 50% or 80%. So that's that. And then there was another one that we had just sort of talked about off camera, Pesorama. It's went public today. Yeah. That is a dollar play, Dollarama, dollar trees of the world. This is a single point price point company. They've got 18 stores in Mexico City. The ticker's peso, so that's opening this morning. So that'll be interesting to see how it goes. Probably not the greatest day to go public, but if you could time these things, then we'd all be much more wealthy.
Do you have the value on that, just offhand?
On Pesorama?
Yeah, I could probably look it up.
Oh, wait, I mean, it'll start trading around $1 today.
Right. Okay. So an IPO on a day like this might, as you said, not be the greatest day to do so, but there we go. A little bit of opportunities, guys. In a market like this, in an environment like this, you got to be positioned correctly. Rahim Alani, Managing Director of OCI Groups, here in Toronto. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Can I give a quick birthday shout out?
Yeah, of course, please.
5-year-old nephew that watches on the way to school every morning, and he'll probably be watching this morning, so happy birthday, Kalen.
There we go. Happy birthday, guys.
Thank you.
There you go. That's what I like to see. Bring a little cheer in there. Thank you. And the good thing about those names, I mean, with Lightspeed, Shopify, and Nuvea, they're all actually dual listed, so you can trade them in the Toronto and the NASDAQ. Well, in the case of Shopify, I think the New York. But either way, like a lot of those opportunities are out there for you.
Our graphics are not working. I tried to hit a celebratory graphic there for the birthday, but Yeah, exactly.
Happy birthday. That's
Happy
what we're
birthday.
trying to do.
Yeah, there's tons of names. I mean, if you're going to be invested in the Canadian market right now, I think the safest place obviously is oil. Oil today up to $100. CL right now 99.15. Light sweet crude. No, that's not it. This is Dollarama. Hold on. It's CL. Well, yesterday was J, right?
It's J. Yeah.
J22. So let's see right now what we're doing on NM. There it is on the NYMEX. There it is right here, guys. So we just talked about that oil today testing 99 as my charts won't load, but we've already hit 100 and bounced down off that. We may have hit it earlier. My chart only goes back to 7 o'clock. For equity purposes, but there it is, bouncing off $100 right now. This is light sweet crude, 99.30 and still rocking and rolling. And on that note, I like, and it's on there, and shout out to Goldman, as we finally have, and he's like, oh, you finally have an oil name on your chart, on your sticky note, and yeah, why not, man? Let's just go with XOM today, up 2.66%. I thought it would be up more than this. I think it should be up more. I've recently bought, I mean, the last equity I bought, I can't. I'll have to think about it. But the last, ETF or whatever I bought was the ZEO, which is a BMO aggregate for oil and gas. So that's been really, really working like crazy. XOM has a great opportunity to work here again today. And honestly, I thought we'd be almost taking out these highs, $82, $83. But XOM still stays low. And by the way, let's go. Let's cash it out. There it is. Now we're going on this one. Look at Softy, man. We bought this thing at 270.50. We just got out of 2/3 of this at 291.90 there. It's 271.90. I wish 291.90. Now up again. We're $2 in the money on Microsoft right now. And I said that on the sticky note, man. I mean, we talked about it. We could be wrong on this, that's for sure, as we've been known to be recently. I feel like the market's in a buy zone and capital may be deployed. So let's just wait to see. There's so many names that have been beat down so far. We'll talk about Palantir at its direct listing close price today of $9.50. I just talked to that with Brandon back there, one of the new traders on the floor here. I think there's a lot of buy opportunities, and we're not going to shy away from doing that. But at the same time, every time we have a winner on the long side, there's going to be opportunity to take out profit. We'll probably wind up doing that. Microsoft down 2.7%.
Yeah, you got to take your profit on a day like today when it's there for you. And actually, in the chat, people keep asking, it's like, should I be panic selling? To me, in the long term, reacting to raising rates in the Fed and inflation, that's the more important thing. I understand, look, we're having a short-term event that's going to shock the markets to the downside, but usually it's a type of event that's a little bit more short-lived in terms of panic. So if you're looking to buy,
I feel like they answered their own question.
Yeah,
panic sell.
I know, exactly.
Why
you don't want to panic sell.
No.
The rotate, to me, and look, for all of last year, it felt like being wrong about, hey, you should be getting into staples and whatnot because inflation's a thing, and then the yields weren't going anywhere. But that was the back half of last year. So as far as I'm concerned, like I've done my rotating, and it's at a point where it's where do you actually get back into some things as opposed to the other end of the equation. And I'm not even there yet. I wanted rounds of earnings for everything before I even thought about it. So now we've gotten that and we can start thinking about it. But panic selling is never usually a good thing. You should always have a bit of a plan of action because while you're panic selling, the people with the longer time frames are picking up deals and they're buying from you and they're thinking 2 to 5 years down the line or even longer than that. And that's what you want to be thinking about on days like this. It's a wild day today, and some familiar names on that list for upgrades and downgrades here today. I don't think any surprises on that board.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to matter too much on a day like this, but here we go. Upgrades, some retail to focus on today. Recent earnings for both of those. Mattel at the bottom here. I mean, notice the numbers here, guys. Huge red numbers right across the board. eBay, Fubo, JP Morgan, on Fubo today. Space back on the board and TJX as well.
Goldman was asking, pick up some Disney. I like Lowe's quarter. So Lowe's had a great report yesterday. If I'm shopping and I look at lunchtime when we're done in the morning show and think it's something that's worth picking up, I like Lowe's. I love the quarter yesterday. I know it's going to be down, so down that 3%. I don't know why Tinoco's on there as an upgrade if it's a buyout. It's getting bought at $20. Whatever. So that's a little bit of an interesting one. But Virgin Galactic, I don't think any surprise there. Fubo TV. I mean, any guesses where that stock is here today? It's in single digits at $6 Fubo TV. So you don't make any money, you're getting beat down. A little bit late to that party with the downgrade.
Yeah, Virgin Galactic 770 on the downside as well. There was one name on there that I wanted to look at that we just talked about.
Macy's?
Yeah, Macy's. Oh, you know what it was? You mentioned Lowe's, which brought me over to Home Depot. That's what it was. And Home Depot today below 300 right now. It did dip below. It was 294, I believe, earlier on this morning, just like 30 minutes ago. No, 296, sorry, was the low. So it got as low as 296, and I was actually looking at that right now. Oh, I was going to use 294 as a level, but Home Depot, another name, down 2.7%. And like Neil mentioned about Lowe's there, I don't think there was much wrong with Home Depot's quarter either. They, in my opinion, they knocked it out of the park. You know, another name that knocked it out of the park? How about Nvidia with a fantastic, outstanding, phenomenal quarter. But since then, see you later, alligator, as the young kids like to say, and so do old men apparently. $200 coming for Nvidia. Look, there's so many spots that we could get long, and we probably should be long in this 200, 205s area. I recently did buy Nvidia 279. I remember that one, and I thought that was doing pretty good down here when we hit that. Maybe it was 269 down in this area, and now we're down to 207. So honestly, like, I don't have any dry powder. I don't make nearly enough money, so I've got to start making some more and buying some of these stocks up. I don't know if today's going to be the right day, but I think that if you're in the queues or not in the queues, maybe NASDAQ, nothing wrong with buying the market down now. How much are we down in the last couple of days, just alone on the NASDAQ? You know, even if you just go back to beginning of February, you're at 370. You're now down to 320. So that's $50 off 370, right? So you're looking at down 15% or so already in the month for the triple Qs. So not that this is going to tell you, hey, this is a screaming buy. If anything, the trend is your friend, and we're going to the downside right now. But nothing wrong, I feel like, and I've actually sent some messages out today, that I think this is a good buying opportunity right now in the Qs and in SMH. And look, I mean, the chat's probably, I'm not even looking at the chat. The chat's probably like, oh, this guy's on crack. But honestly, I feel like there are some buying opportunities that need to be made. And if you haven't stepped into something like an SMH yet, why not put in 15%? Why not put in 10%? If you're looking to take a $10,000 position, you buy $1,000 today worth. You buy, you know, why not? Look at the levels that we're at. I mean, we've crashed down. I really do believe in the semis. You can also buy SOX as a SOX, as a ETF as well. That's coming through. So for me, I like this space. I don't know if I dip into Roblox or anything right now, but the SMH is a play on the metaverse and a play on the future and Internet of Things. I mean, let's go. There's a lot of opportunities here in the market. It's just, you know, do you have enough powder? And someone said dry powder, and they said they're from Colombia, and that was pretty funny, actually. But I would say that might be the only powder worth something right now. But cash is definitely king, and I can't fault anybody for hoarding some of that right now. The best position, I think, is cash, so that you can deploy some on these, you know, this Russia, Ukraine. And then we still have, Neil, we still have CPI to come. Inflation's not out of the way. Unemployment is still a problem.
Oh, but there's one good point. Well, it's okay. Maybe it's not a good point, but this has shifted the odds. I mean, that half point move for the Fed, they're not going to be able to pull that off. Like not in these circumstances. So you're back to the quarter point coming in March.
Right.
I don't know if that changes the outlook for the full year, but at least that short-term shock of getting that half point is pretty much out the window. But like they said yesterday, or I think it was Daily said yesterday, they're going to be reacting to all those numbers. So guess what? When we get that CPI data, I mean, if it's as ugly as it was last time, you might get that half point right back in. So we're just headline reacting to risks. That's why you want to be very nimble when you're trading here, because you know, sort of digging in too deep when we have this much volatility doesn't make any sense. Every trade today, like I say it every day, but make sure you have a bit of an out. Like, there's a reason why I really like BABA $6 away from where it is now. I just have way more confidence if I short it at that price. And my overriding theory today is that if you're looking to short things and you want to be safe, just pick the company that nobody in their right mind should want to buy on a day like today, right? And like the way I looked at it, and I can get into why Lemonade's earnings were as bad. I could get into why Lemonade's earnings were so incredibly bad. And I'm like I own shares of the company. I've been looking for reasons to get back in. They were putrid. It was really, really bad for an insurance company. But I just can't see why, under the circumstances, if the market bounces, I can get why Microsoft would go up. I can get why Nvidia would go up. I can get why we talked about Lowe's, Walmart, some of those types of names, I mean, you can throw out some industrials out there. It's just, I don't see why Lemonade outside of a squeeze should go up. It was the same thing I felt about Virgin Galactic yesterday. It might mean waiting for anything with a short interest to squeeze a little bit if there is a bit of a rally, but the selling should come in. People are looking for exits on those names today as opposed to entry points. And that's what I want to think about shorting. What are people looking to get out of? Not what are people looking to value buy. I'll short the things people are looking to get out of, not the things that they're looking to pick bottoms on, because that's where the buyers step in.
Lemonade back to, well, almost lows here, 22.5% for LMND. Wanted to mention a little bit on that, but I mean, we'll go to Arun here in a second and get a look at the overall market, because it's going to be an interesting day when it comes to the overall futures, guys. Just noticing some of these energy stocks trying to, the little ones. There's INDO, there's IMPP, there's that HUSA, which is another. These are all just micro cap, tiny little energy stocks that are moving around today, along with oil. But I mean, Lemonade, is there even a trade there today, guys?
I want to short it in front of 20. So like, if you know what the loss ratio is for an insurance company, essentially the difference between their claims they pay out and the premiums they get in, they need to be below 80%. And they were hugging below that number, and then you want to see that declining as they grow. 96% was their loss ratio in the last quarter, and they missed in a whole bunch of other metrics. That's the only number I was saying I was going to care about, and that got significantly worse. If you're going to be more efficient, the whole idea behind the company is that using AI and behavioral yada, 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 you're able to be more efficient, right? So therefore paying out less claims by understanding risk parameters. And on top of that, then able to undercut the big boys. So you're gonna try to charge less and be more efficient. Okay, so you're gonna make less revenues initially as you're bringing more people in and having low premiums. But at the same time, if your loss ratio is going in the other direction at this point, then you're not accomplishing. You are not doing what you set out to do. You are not more efficient. Your AI isn't better than everybody else at this point. You've got to be executing. Granted, they do still have probably a year or two from a cash point that they can still turn it around, potentially, but it's just a bad cue, and the numbers are all pretty ugly. I mean, compensation, like, give me a break. They had, like, the CEO made more in comp than they actually pulled in revenue this year.
Yeah, it's stupid.
So anyways, I'd short that one in front of $20. It could squeeze. I understand it's got a short interest. And just like Virgin Galactic, I got stopped out on the first short and then waited for it to make a top, and that worked out. So I'll have the same approach with Lemonade.
Yeah, I was just looking at some crypto here. You guys talking about crypto on the chat, and I honestly, like, to say crypto is dead, I mean, it's just, this is what's going to happen, and I'm going to refresh this again, but I just did, so I think it's right. Yeah, like, we're down 20, you know, like 25 to 30% on pretty much on every name. I mean, someone says, is Cardano dead? I don't know. I mean, Ethereum's down 23%, Cardano's down 28%, Ripple, XRP down 23%. This is on 7 days. You know, Avalanche, like some of these names that we like, Polkadot. I mean, I saw Kevin O'Leary yesterday tweeting about Matic or something like that, you know, and it's a name that I like as well. We talked about some of our NFTs, and I mean, the NFTs have been holding up good, so I'm pretty happy about the NFT environment. But I mean, this is going to get hit, and you know, if you're invested in crypto, this is part of what we have to deal with. And honestly, you guys know that I sold Cardano when it broke 125. I sold Ethereum when it broke 3,000, and I sold some big, not all of them. I just lightened it up, and then I sold Bitcoin on a break of 40,000. We're not even down that much, even from those levels, and that was like about a month ago. So I feel like it's holding up. Do I have dip buys in? Yes, I do. But again, my dip buy on Cardano, honestly, is 31 cents. I put a bid in there this morning in case that comes through. And then Solana, I actually put a dip buy at 71 or so for that. And then Ethereum, I'm sitting at 2K to see if we can get something on Ethereum. It might be 1,800 or so for Ethereum. And I'm not dip buying on Bitcoin. I already own, actually, some of the Bitcoin trusts and things like that. So BTCC.B here in Toronto has been a dumpster fire as well. Not really, but just as the Bitcoin moves, so does this name. So there's GBTC. Shout out again to Jeff Mendel from OTC Markets. Oh yeah, that's right. Our Toronto charts won't work here in the AM. But anyways, there's lots to do. Like, look at GBTC here. This should load up in the Bitcoin realm. I mean, if you're here trading this stuff, it's just been pretty nasty. Hopefully this will load up again. We'll see where we. Yeah, something's wrong with the charts here, Brendo. But I'm going to throw it back to you. I just think that if you're nibbling, I would not nibble in crypto at these levels. I think that there's a lot coming out of this still. Russia could still ban, I mean, whatever. We actually like it when the government bans crypto. We could talk about that after, but there's more to come on all this.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to show you this. We were talking a little bit there on the Fed funds rate going into March. Here's the current. We're at 13.3. This was 38% yesterday. So 38 down to 13.3 on the half point move. I mean, like we were saying, it's going to be a quarter point. Mark March 10th down on your calendar. That's the next CPI reading. A few days after that, I think it's the 15th, we'll get the actual interest rate hike from the Fed. So March going to be an interesting month. Let's bring in Arun and get a look at the overall market here. An important day to understand, Arun, where things could go at this point. What are you looking at?
All right, buckle up is all I can say. We've cleared any support levels that we've had marked off. 4,200 was the bottom of the last set of levels that I had. 4,250 is what we were working with yesterday. Nice little trade there, breaking that. Then 4,200 we lost overnight. Now we've got not a whole lot of major support levels. We are developing something around this 4,100. I might even say maybe south of that, 4,095 or so, just to allow for some slippage. But there does seem to be some decent buying south of 4,120. So wait for the market to open. It maybe if there's more buy side support, there could be a long. There's an off chance that there is a decent long down here in the 20s. But if we were to go into say the 40s or 50s, you got to start looking at that high, the overnight. Now, it's not an overnight high, but it's a high from the bounce, right? It's sitting around 60 to 65. I'm going to say 70. So up till 41.70, if we can find maybe a short somewhere from 40 to 70, there might be an option for a short. But I think the interesting thing is the amount of buy side support you're seeing. This is not what I was expecting when I came in this morning. I was actually expecting it to be much lower and not have this kind of decent support volume. So here we are waiting for this market to open. We do have something around 4,100. We've got that 4,170. So if you play for the short and that loses, you can flip that around and go for the long. Because if you go for the long north of 4,170, you do have space until about 42.20, 25 based on what we saw yesterday. Towards the end of yesterday, there was a decent amount of volume around 42.20. So keep an eye on that. So if you go for the 70, you have about 50 points in space to the upside before we start running into resistance. So 41.70 opens the door. And then the next level up I've got is 42.90 past that. So wide ranges. This is nothing new. This is what we've seen in the last little bit. Volatility has picked up. And as a trader, this is a great thing to see. Volatility brings opportunity. And in this kind of market, this is how you make money. Doesn't matter the direction, but when you have this kind of ranges or this wide of a range, it definitely provides many different options on where you want to play and how you want to play. And as I say, that market is back towards 41.30. So definitely keeping an eye on that. But volatility brings opportunity. And this is starting to get real exciting as a trader.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll let you get back to it. Nicola, just out with earnings, guys. If you needed another one to look at, not a huge move, but still down 5.5% for Nicola. There's a couple other minor ones that we'll talk about, but let's get into what else is moving around this morning. That's the link to the watch list, guys. Every morning we send it out for absolutely nothing, free. All you need is your email address, and you can have that watch list. This morning, Tesla topping the list. Yesterday, we were sitting here talking about 800 and how important 800 would be on Tesla. This morning, 700 comes and goes, guys.
Yeah, it actually just bounced off of, I mean, it broke 700, but pre-market action obviously is a little bit different because there's less liquidity. But it did just bounce off of 700. But on the daily chart, I think anybody that remembers trading this in the back half of last year probably remembers the double bottom 550, the consolidation break at about 6. It was like 636 was the round number, and then finding support. It took forever in that move for it to actually get to 800, and then we're screaming right back through all those levels. But the support was down there in those mid 600s. And just over and over again before we actually broke out. So I'm looking back towards, I think 636 is the number that stands out because that was the breakout price. They got us to that 800. But in front of that, you have 650, 700 were to go. And I expect there will be buyers en masse at those particular prices. For now, I mean, 700 is the number we're going to be looking at. Like I said, it did break in the pre-market a couple of times, but you are rallying overall here. Just keep in mind, like looking at some of those levels on the NASDAQ in particular, like we'd have 100 points to go before you get to just the most recent in the gap down resistance. So a lot of these names, They're just playing inside of pre-market ranges. They're all wider now, but essentially for trading off these levels, you're trading within the range and not breaking out of them. So that 700 hasn't really broken out unless we can reclaim 725 and go higher. I'll be looking at 700 even that kind of capitulation type level. If you break that at 930 and then have no follow through to the pre-market lows and can manage to rally off of that, sometimes you get one of those wipeout bottoms where it's a good buying opportunity. That's what I plan to do with 700 on Tesla. If it breaks the low, which is sitting at 690, 636 to 650 is what I was looking at on the daily chart. I mean, that's over $100 from where it closed yesterday, but anything is possible.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at Tesla, to be honest with you. I mean, we're in a nice little trade here on Microsoft as it just touched 273 in the money, $2.50. Someone said to me, or someone said on the chat, like, wow, Sean, look at NEO, 1850. What? I honestly didn't even realize NEO was down to 18 bucks. Like, honestly, man, I cannot believe some of these prices that we're seeing today. Like, NEO, what is going on? I mean, we know what's going on. It's kind of a rhetorical question, but this name just keeps on getting faded every single day. And again, China name, not worth it right now. Not worth going long on these dips. I don't feel like. I'd rather take a stock like Fisker. You brought us Nikola earlier on. This is down to 10 bucks as well. Breaking lows, like back down to some of these lows that we had thought we'd never see before. So again, if you do like the EV space, take a look at Fisker. I like Magna as well. That's MGA in New York. This is another name that's been beat down if you want to spot here in the market for a name that, hey, pays a dividend. We got out of this on Canada at about 100 and I think it was 102 or something. Remember Goldman, we were in this one together. I don't know if you're still in it as well. But here's Magna at a decent level, auto parts, working with some of these electric vehicle makers. That's obviously a possibility. And then you mentioned Nikola actually reported here as I'm on Twitter and people are sending me, I can't look at DMs right now, guys. It's too busy. But thank you for asking for advice and things like that. We'll try to answer all the questions on the show that we get on the chat, and then I'll deal with Twitter after. $6 here on Nikola today. Again, like this is not a name that I'd be investing in. I think you got to pick the right names, maybe a Lucid, maybe a Rivian. And then honestly, I said this yesterday, I don't know what's the problem with Ford or GM investments right now. I feel like these are about as solid as you can get in the space. Companies with a legacy model, people know Ford, people will buy Fords, people will be, and not just Ford, GM, I'm talking about all these names, Toyota Motors as well, another name that you could dip your toes in if you were interested in something that's been a little bit beat down, but does still have name brand recognition. Toyota Motors is a great one. Volkswagen is another ADR. So for me, Tesla, obviously that's what we're talking about here. I'd buy Tesla, but if you're already invested in Tesla and you're just not sure, I mean, how amazing of a trader, Neil, is Elon Musk? I mean, that guy sold at the top, basically.
Yeah.
No, like, was he forced to? Blah, blah, blah. Did he know something? I mean, the point is like, the guy sold out of what, $30 billion or whatever that number was on Tesla at $1,100? I mean, the guy could buy that back right now.
But then he got options, so then he's back in, right? So
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, to raise that capital at those prices, I mean, he always throwing down this kind of cash.
He's always winning.
But I wonder how his Dogecoin is doing. I remember when he was on Saturday Night Live and Dogecoin that night ripped up to 53 cents. It's what, 12 cents right now. So I don't know, man. I feel like the rug's been pulled on a lot of these things, including EVs. So stay with Tesla, stay with Toyota, Ford, GM, Volkswagen. That's what I would do right now. I'd rather pick up those names and like forego the double maybe in Fisker. Just pick a safe name because any stock that's been chopped in half still has halfway to go.
Exactly. And some of them are still expensive, man. Like NEO, like just because it looks cheap on the chart doesn't mean it's actually cheap in valuation. That's something we have to get used to this year.
I was listening to a couple of podcasts last night, Sean. They were talking about that as well. Like, is that not one of the best trades of all time, even for Elon Musk? I just checked; it was 16.8 billion he sold, basically, as you said at the top there. Neil, you were talking about or asking about Moderna. The earnings call was 8 a.m., so could possibly still be on for Moderna. So heads up, yeah, pretty active right now. Let's go on to big tech here. Going to be an important day for the market if the market is going to move. This is where we should be looking. Sean, you're already in Microsoft.
Oh God, yeah, I was just reading the chats there. Yeah, so I mean, I just picked up Microsoft as a day trade here, thinking that 270 was going to hold. I mean, I was talking the same thing at 280, 290, 300. So it's just kind of like playing off these even dollars. And then I came in today, and honestly, I just felt like the NASDAQ was way too beat down. It was down like 3.5% when I sat down, and it felt oversold, to be honest with you. And a lot of the time you get panic setting in, obviously. And I mean, we were sitting here during COVID times. I've been trading through, I mean, obviously I've been here 20 something years, 20 years. And, you know, we've seen a lot happen. And sometimes the market overreacts. And I don't know if this is going to be an overreaction or not. I just felt like to take a long at 270, where my out's going to be 270 anyways, 270.50, sorry, where my out's going to be 270, that's 50 cents. We just took $1.50 on that trade. So we just got 3-1, and we're out of 2/3 of the trade. So 3-1, out on 2/3. That's a fantastic ratio for me. I'm going to be buying Microsoft, and this time I'm going to buy it again, but if it has to dip down a little bit lower. I have some bids. I want to protect that 268 level, and that's what I'm going to do today. Any level that I like, I'm going to like level down a little bit. So if I think 270 is a good bid here on Softy, I'm actually not going to panic until it gets to 268. So that's what I was thinking. I think that's what we wrote down on that's what we wrote down on the sticky note here today. Find it at Trader TV, Sean, the sticky note. And I just wrote down possible opportunity to grab this name at 270. We did that. Hold to 268. So I wanted to give it $1 to the downside, right? This is more for once the market opens. If it broke 270 now, then I would get out, because I'm not going to hold this thing in the pre-market. I want to see what happens when it opens up. I have another bid down there at 270 now to reload the position, and then I'm going to wait for 268. 268 is my kill spot on Microsoft. But hey, I don't think you're going to go wrong buying a Google, a Microsoft, an Apple, but it has to deal with your time frame. That's the most important thing to me, is that we're trading this for a day trade. I think there's some bouncing opportunities. And then if you do not have a position in some of these names, or you don't have a big position, I think it's time to buy. And I actually I sent out some notes today to buy some SMH and some Qs. And I just think we're at a level now that can be supported. So let's see. If money comes in, I bet you they come in on the big caps. That's all.
Yeah, and Apple, that 200 period is actually getting bounced off right now. So for me, that's I'm looking at that. It's 151.80-ish. So in that range is what I'm looking for a bounce. So maybe give it like an extra 50 cents to $1 to be able to bounce off that. Facebook, on the other hand, just because of the trend and what happened to them after earnings, and it's below 200, well, 200 break. If we had a rally and I had to pick one of the big cap names that I was going to short, Facebook, if it got to 200, would probably head that list. Not probably, it would head that list. I'm just talking out of the big cap names.
Let's continue along. Alibaba reported as well. Also a terrible report. If you joined us at 8:30, we were talking a bit about it was the slowest revenue growth in the history of the company since it went public in this quarter for Alibaba. So under big time pressure here.
So I can just
hit your "it's a trap" thing.
You know what? I should be on the "it's a trap" thing, because it feels like one, but I can't find it.
Oh,
now.
God.
Oh,
why did I say that?
Yeah, why'd you do it? There it is.
It's a trap.
There we go.
I couldn't even hear it. But at a 100 on the lows, they're already down 9%. The market trying to catch a bit of a bounce. Bad earnings report. Everyone and their mother saying, okay, well, that's a good level to maybe short if you want to find some weakness here. Like I said, it feels a little bit like a trap, because if you get caught off sides on a short at that low, like I like 108 on the daily. Like this is the level that the level that broke 108 to 110, I suppose. So it's a bit of a range. Now that's a level I would want to be shorting in front of, and you're $8 away. Like that's huge if you take that break. What are you holding at $8 against you? No, you're not doing that. Well, I'm not doing that. So it makes it tricky to want that off of the open. I think in this particular case, being patient is the way to go. Something I like is going to give me an entry if I want to be on the short side, and then I'd rather make a defense long in something that I feel like there's going to be some more value buying. And if you had a bad report today, then I don't want to be long something that just had a bad report. Even if the market bounces, fine. Let Alibaba go with it. If you reported poorly today, I just don't want to be hitting the buy key. Give me something that's already reported and had a strong report, and then people are looking to catch value since that report. Like a Lowe's was an example that I used there. Sean with Microsoft, or some of the chip names might find some bottoms because they've had good reports, but not Alibaba. If it gets anywhere close to that 8 to 10 range, I think it's a fade. I think you got to be careful if you take the 100 break at the open. Don't hold on to it forever, but clearly it's certainly possible with the way the market is going that is the trade. I just don't particularly like slamming that bid at the open.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do anything off the open. And right here, here's the sticky note right here. I know I was running out of ink, so I got to figure out what's going on here because this is my lucky pen. But bad print today, slow growth, and now increased competition apparently with TikTok. Look at $100, break that short. I mean, there's no easier, I don't know if it's going to be easy or not. Like Neil said, this might be a trap, but I think it's no easier setup than a break of a smooth 100. I was going to say, look, Baidu has obviously had a high of the same thing, man. This name might be worse than Alibaba, honestly. $360 was the high. I can't remember. I think Alibaba's was near 300 too, maybe 320. But anyways, Baidu, this may be a better buy than Alibaba just because its move is only down. It's like it's 142 today. We're not really close to that bottom yet of 135. And then even when you get to that, you know, there's still a lot more down here, 115 and so on and so forth. So I feel like Baidu is a little stronger than Alibaba. You may want to look at that if you are trying to play a Chinese bounce back. But remember the one that I was always saying that if you're going to be invested into any Chinese names whatsoever, why not just take the whole basket? And that's unfortunately going to be a stock that's not going to load for me. But FXI, man, we got to do something with these charts, man. We'll have to have a powwow. FXI right here, this is off E-Signal. It's down here, and it's going to open up a little bit lower here today. It looks like $34. So this one's breaking back down. This is the China, I don't know if you can see it right here. It's the China large cap ETF. So FXI, if you did believe in China on a rebound, again, I don't want to be in anything state-sponsored government or anything like that right now. So let's just wait on all these plays. The world is obviously in turmoil, and I think that if you wanted to stay somewhere, you know, like we keep saying, either buy some of these dips in the higher quality companies or stick with oil and banks.
Very, very quickly here, Skills, 1.4 million to sell. I got the small one up here. Neo, 1.3 million to sell. Palantir, 1.2 million to sell. I'm reading imbalances for you guys. Pfizer, 1.1 million to sell. Ford, 2 million to sell. It's all sells. I mean, Rig, whatever. That's going to be green. Petrobras, that's going to be a buy and balance of 1 million. But yeah, it's pretty much sells across the board. Alibaba, 500,000 to sell there. I saw some people asking about it. We'll go over as it gets closer to the open and some of the NASDAQ ones come in. We'll go over those as well, but we need to get into travel a little bit here, Brendo.
Well, among the worst off so far this morning in the pre-market here, getting hurt pretty bad as far as cruise lines, airlines, even the hotels, as we said, all down significantly around that 5+% mark. So if we're looking for weakness, if we do get follow through on the overall move in the market to the downside, at least one group to keep in mind as far as weakness is concerned. In the same sense, we might as well touch on oil stocks here as well, heading obviously in the complete opposite direction as well.
Well, starting with travel, and like Norwegian actually reported, right? So they missed, I mean, up and down. They missed on their earnings, and they're into new they were into new territory, breaking on the daily 1770. They're at that exact price now, and breaking new territory down. Like I said, if you had a bad report, I'm not looking for a relief rally. If you want to buy one of those names at the open to try to catch lightning in a bottle, maybe go with something other than Norwegian is my guess. I like the short probably to about 1835. So I'm looking for this as a pop and fade trade off of the open. Usually when we're talking about oil and I want to make a day trade, I'm always going to, please load, Oxy. I just like the volatility that this usually has. Yeah, my daily doesn't seem to want to load there. The key level on this has been that 40. So if we hold that off the open, I like the chance that you can get a bit of a bounce off that key level there. I know you're looking at XOM there, Sean.
Yeah, I was trying to look at everything, but I don't know. We are having a problem with our charts. So I was going to look at Boeing here, sub 200 as well. I still got to watch that Boeing documentary. That should be pretty interesting.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, chart's not loading. Arms week, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to find out what's going on with our charts and with these stocks. But for right now, let's just watch out. And what I was going to say there is like weak hands, letting some of these stocks go on bad prices. So let's wait to see where we go. We're $1.70 in the money on Microsoft. Let's kick it over to Valeria.
Hey guys, just 7 minutes left until the open, and I remind you to smash the like button. We really need your help, guys. We have 6,000 people watching, so please help us to get at least 1,000 likes before the bell. Now let's go to Brandon.
Yeah, going to be a fun one, guys. Coming up on 5 minutes to go before we get this market open this morning. I would love to show you some charts of small caps, but my charts are also having some issues right now. I'm going to look at INDO.
up here.
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna look at INDO, gonna look at IMPP. Just keep in mind, both of those energy companies. We also have HUSA, which is another energy company, and Clover, an interesting look off of earnings as well, guys.
Yeah, I can go to IMPP because apparently anything I've already looked at today seems like it's okay when I bring it up a second time. If it's something new. But IMPP made that huge run in yesterday's action. I talked about that dollar level holding. This is what it looked like. I mean, it had the break. It was a day two move, and I was shorting it off of 115. It kept pulling back to $1 and supporting it, so I reversed into a long. Couldn't get past the quarters. But even in the afternoon, it held one even, and then now you're going to get the gap up. Because it made the gap to the most significant level you can find on the daily, which is next, and that's at $2. It reversed it too. You know the setup I like. If it capitulates at a level like that on the daily chart, I'm shorting it. I shorted already at 170 and took it out in front of 150. Again, 75s into those evens. And then now I'm just looking to get back in front of that 75 area. If that breaks, I'd revisit it at 2 even. I'm also looking at INDO. That's the other crazy runner, another monstrous gap up. This is actually a double up from that 8. It's still holding. I sort of look at that failure and capitulation at 20 and say to myself, okay, if it's below 1650, I want to be looking this triple top. I'm looking for shorts off that level. If it breaks that, it's got tons of room before I think it runs into trouble at 20. And it can halt on a 1650 break without breaking 20. Obviously, that's less than 10%. But my first look is to try to fade some of these moves. I get it, they're low float. Make sure you always have an out in each one of those trades. And then we talked about NCLH there, Alibaba 100 as well. But yeah, the market's starting to come back in here a little bit, so I don't want to completely ignore you, Affirm. That is my solemn promise, is that when the market is weak, is that I will look at Affirm. Forget about 38. You can cry about missing that short over and over again. We're now looking at an even 33 as the pre-market highs. It's been a pop and fade wherever that pre-market high has been. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't go back to that well here in just about 3 or 4 minutes. And then going down the line, I know some of you are looking at Clover, Clover beat, and at one point was up significantly, actually, on their gap up. I mean, I know it's given a little bit back. Yeah, overnight it was sort of trading at 230. There was some prints a little bit higher than that. It's retraced a little bit, but this is one that I wouldn't get in the way of it in terms of a short. It would have to get to like $3 and really squeeze. It actually has some breakout potential just because it's been beaten up so badly. And if something's going to run today, it's likely to be some of those squeeze plays at the open. I could see that happening. Just note that it did have a bit of an aftermarket failure above that 225, which sets up for a break. And $2 has been support. It was actually support all afternoon yesterday. And then in pre-market, $2 found some support on Clover. So unless it gets back below that $2 price, I kind of feel like you have some cover if you wanted to go long.
Okay, so just looking at the imbalance, I know Neil just did it with only 3 minutes to go. The market just tanked pretty hard there, and I believe it was because of this guy right here, Apple, coming with a million sell on the imbalances. Those hit at 925, and that's right when this market tanked. So you can see the NASDAQ here with a move down at 925, breaking through the 50 period. You do have Apple as a concern right there with a 7. Well, it was 3 million that you could see. It's pairing off right now. Ford also with a sell. That's going to be affecting everything here. We have a 300,000 on the bid right now for Ford. I like Ford long down here, man. I mean, I like all these stocks long. It's just, like I said, we got to let this market settle down. I don't have any idea where these imbalances are going to go today or where the market's going to go early. I think we have a blow to the upside early and then maybe fade it out. So that's what we've already talked about. We've been right so far. If you were long anything early, you've been fine. But for right now, it still has to come back in. And the plan of action here on Palantir, as we wrote on the sticky note at Trader TV, Sean, you could find it, was that Palantir's direct listed price, and again, our charts for some reason don't want to go back far enough today, but it closed at 950. So it's direct listing reference price. This doesn't mean anything really to anybody other than the people that were in early, I guess, although it's a direct listing, was 725. It came to market 10, closed at 950. So you're going to have to watch out for 950. That was the very first closing day for Palantir. So that could come into play as well. And to be honest with you, I'm not bidding until 911. That's kind of an ominous number. I didn't mean to put it out there, but we're just.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Maybe I'll change that to like 912 now, just for the sake of it. I'm going to do that right now, actually. It's superstitious. We're going to bid 912 here for Palantir. I want to wait to see if it drops down to $9, man. I mean, why not? We are already a lot lower than that today. Not a lot lower than where we are now. We're already at 940. That's when we put the bid in, right? We were here 8 o'clock doing the sticky note, looking at all these charts, obviously earlier than that as well. But 940 where we're at, now we're up to 970. Let's see if Palantir gives us a little bit of cover down here. You know what? Let's bid a little bit at 950, and then we'll put the big one at 912. But with only 40 seconds to go, it's the people's bell ringer today. Miss V is on the bell. So we'll see what that's going to happen. Although I think the people.
He won that poll going away.
Yeah. The people's bell ringer is Tony. I'll have to figure out another name for Ms. V with only 30 seconds to go.
We've said it before. If you put a poll up of who rings the bell, Ms. V is going to win if she's on it.
Yeah,
every
like
single
what
time,
are we doing with that?
Which is fine. That's how it should be. We
like
got
that,
20
yeah.
seconds. It's the Carolina Baby Blue, which has actually been good luck in the class.
North
Hopefully we get it here
Carolina.
today. Come on and raise up. Drop this countdown. It should be a wild Thursday. A lot to look at.
Helicopter.
Baba already at that 100 level.
There we go. The fade. The fade to
That
Miss
was
V.
cool. And Tony's in the shot. 2-1.
Tony in the building. All right, let's go. Let the show begin. And I almost said the different kind of show there. Let's wait to see how we open up. Some of these New York names not opening up. Palantir not open yet. Microsoft, dance. 272, 272.20. Spread right now, 40 cents on some of these names. So be very, very careful. We're not filled in anything yet. AMD, Microsoft, Palantir, XOM.
Yeah, all I have is that IMPP, of course, which we already got into. But Baba's right at that 100 level. Just going back and forth. It's not open. We do want to have a quick look at Tesla because, remember 700 there. It did dip back down to 700, and now a bit of a bounce, guys. You're actually seeing it back up to 710. So the market a bit jittery. I still want to see some of these names open on the New York, which just hasn't happened yet. I talked about Clover. I will be on the bid in front of 2, but I'm cheap. I want like 203, 204 if I have to go long that stock. And then NCLH, that's another one I wanted on a bit of a fade. Whoops. Oh, goodness, now that's not going to look. Oh, it actually did. NCLH actually fell initially. I'm still looking to short that one on a pop. There just obviously was not one.
Yeah, just waiting. Palantir breaking through 10. We'll take that if it does go. Let's check out Ford real quick right now. As the market's bouncing, man, we're monsters. We're $3 in the money. Ford's not even open yet. We're $3 in the money right now on Microsoft as that is up to 273.50 and still ripping. This is exactly what we talked about here on the open of the day, man. We said there was going to be a rally, I felt like. Here comes the rally. Is it time to fade it? Maybe it is. Ford's still not open yet. I'm thinking about just taking a long here, 1602.
Yeah, I mean, so many things. You are look. I want to see these open up. If it's on the Nasdaq, it's fine. If it's on the New York, I want to see that liquidity. Facebook, if it was a big one coming in, I wanted to fade 200. That's getting to 193. Of course, the easiest thing for me is always taking a shot at a firm. I just saw it break. By the way, IMPP's in the money, and INDO was dying, so that's not even giving you any chance to get into the short trade. But firms trying to break out amongst that high. Now we can start zooming in. I want to take the first shot at this when I find the first little bit of a curl. So it's starting to slow down, but I don't want to rush into these shorts as the Nasdaq's about to test those tops.
Yep, and we are right now rocking and rolling. We took a Palantir long through $10. Look at Microsoft, $5 in the money right now for Microsoft. And there goes Palantir, there goes Ford. We're long Ford, still not even really open yet, I don't think. Nice long at 01 there for Ford. There goes Palantir up to 12. Let's go, guys. Good trading here for Palantir. Good trading for Softy. $5 now in the money for Microsoft as we're getting ready to rock and roll here. Crypto's starting to go back upside. There goes the NASDAQ. This is what we said, man. Hopefully you guys checked my email. Friends, we talked about buying this. Let's go. $5 in the money now on Mr. Softy, guys. Palantir, a dime piece. 13 cents in the money on Palantir.
So I told you guys which are the names that I wanted to be in. I take first shot at Lemonade and first shot at a firm here. And Lemonade, I want to give way more room. It's a very thinly traded stock, but I want to be in this ideally all day long. A firm's a different story. A firm I want to play off of that curl idea. And it's starting to make a little bit of a curl here. Just to come back over to IMPP, those small caps. Yeah, you can pretty much predict what's happening. That's actually falling towards those pre-market lows. It breaks 150. I'm going to hold on to it. I've only taken about 20% off here,
Softy.
about 10%, and I'm looking for this to get back to 1.25, guys.
Yeah, out Softy right there, $5. Let's go. Softy, $5 winner right there, out 275.50. Yo, Brandon, did you take those longs, buddy? We talked about that. Let's go. Nice little move to the upside right here. That's the benefit of being on the floor, guys. Hopefully you're able to make a little bit of money with us. Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Look at Ford. Ford going off right now. I don't even think Ford is open yet, but nice little move up to the upside. We're 14 cents in the money on Ford, guys.
Yeah, watching NCLH, very, very weak, guys. And reality is you want to find relative strength, relative weakness if you can find it. It is only big tech I see that looks pretty strong.
Thank you.
NCLH cannot get through that pre-market high, so for me, that's going to be a fade. I thought it'd be closer to $18. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I don't want to miss out on Moderna, guys. Remember Moderna made a huge move? I actually thought it was the conference call, but it made another spike up, testing 150. That's $25 from the bottom on Moderna. I feel like it's going too far here. It wasn't overall the greatest of earnings. Watch out for that 150 level. IMPP working. I just got NCLH, a firm looking for a reload, and watch out for Lemonade getting close to that 20 level.
Yeah, all is good, man. Palantir, a big monster for us, guys, on this one. So shout out to Ms. V as Palantir just keeps on ripping. I mean, where do we get out on Palantir here? Good job, Kathy Wood. She sold yesterday. That was smart, but we'll see where it goes now. Hopefully she rebought in the open here. Nice move upside for Palantir. We did dump our Microsoft, man, $5. There it is right there. I think we'll look back and be happy with that one. Ford also got some out at 17, 18, 19, 20 here on Ford. So those are just names to look at as we try to pick our poison here on some of these names, man. What did Baba do? Did Baba break Hyundai yet or
no? It bounced off 100,
right.
But it's not really going anywhere. That's the thing. Like, I like Baba 108. And again, on a morning like this, like I want to let shorts come to me. I wasn't looking for longs off the open. I was looking to go for that short trade. And Baba never came. Like, it's sitting at 103. That's nowhere near where I actually like this thing. So I'm going to have to sit this out for the time being. There's a nice little curl, but looks like we're not going to catch it. Brendo, what's up, buddy?
I don't have much to show you as far as charts, but XPeng, guys, we were talking about NIO, XPEV, also ripping back to the upside on decent volume here. Still down, but buy volume on XPEV.
All right. We just, I'm starting to get out. Like, just like we got out of Microsoft here, we're just emptying out of everything right now. Palantir is just a monster win for me, man. I mean, this is 5% straight upside right there on Palantir. And we have it. We have this 5% win. We're long at 10. It's at 1040 right now, 1050, whatever the math works out to be right there. Microsoft, good out for me on that one. Ford is a fantastic trade for me. Ford and Palantir just continue to rock, man. I mean, if we can get some more out here right now, even on Palantir, I don't think that that's a horrible idea as well. But there goes Ford. Yeah, that's Ford rate. Oh, we missed it. I thought I offered 23 there on Ford. I did. Hopefully 23 can come back in. And then Palantir's all the way up to 40. Let's put an offer out and get smacked out of there. Whoa, did we miss it? On 40, we'll get out. Yeah, we did. We got it. So 40 out on Palantir. Let's look to get some more names, man. Crypto names starting to move around as well. Oil back to 90, not 99 flat right now. And Facebook 194.
Yeah, I just tried to call up Oxy for you guys, but that chart's not going to be working for me. Even the charts I look up aren't even working at all. So I got to go to something that I can actually show you. Going to show you a firm. 34 just came in here. No, I actually can't even show you that one. So 34 just came in. I can tell you, I just got more shares on a bit of a fail at that price. And so I'm dug into the first short, 34 quarter I'm going to get out. But it just made its first curl. Same thing in Lemonade. It got 19.5. It made a curl at about 20 bucks. So trying to play that patience game. There it is. Now I can show you a firm. So it made that first little push. Now keep in mind that floor from Friday was about 34.5. Or yesterday was about 34.5. I don't want to give this trade all the way to that price. I think 35 is the level, so if I get out at 34.25, I'm ready to get back in off of those lows yesterday. So I want to take at least multiple cracks at that name. NCLH, again, they reported out of the travel names and out of the cruise lines, so they are relatively weak today, and I want to leverage that. But 18 is just the even dollars I'm going off of. I also like pre-market highs to be able to make that fade. This market, the ES has not even broken its first resistance point. The NASDAQ, however, is going. So it's a tale of two stories here. The ES is still struggling a little bit. It's the tech names that are actually booming a little bit more.
Yeah, I cannot believe this, man. We got out of that softy, and it is just Rip City right now to the upside on Microsoft. I mean, check out AMD as well. Like, wow. Wow. Cannot believe we had this 270. I mean, hopefully you guys were all over the sticky note, man. Hopefully, anyways, because that's been printing cash today, that's for sure. Let's look at Alibaba right now. We talked about buy Palantir. We talked about buy Microsoft. Microsoft's a $7 winner right now. We took 5 on it, but we'll have to see if that continues to come in. Alibaba, nice little level there. We're seeing if we can get up to 107, 108. I don't mind shorting some of these names, but we are way off right now. The market is just rally city. So I don't know. I don't believe in this rally as strong as it is. So for me, we got to wait a little bit and just try to pick our spots here as the market is just rally. And we talked about that. I mean, check out the sticky note. If you're not following right now, maybe you should. I feel the market is in a buy zone and capital may be deployed. I mean, this market right now, nicely done. Look at this. Look at it. Capital being deployed. Look at this. We don't even have a sell candle here, except for when I sold Softy. There it goes right up to the upside. Ford now. Talk about this one, 30 cents of the money. Let's take another piece out. As Palantir is 50 cents of the money now. Ford and Palantir. Sorry I'm focused on those two names. But when you pick them out and they're winning, you got to stick with them. So Ford and Palantir.
Yeah, another leg up for Alibaba. I just swung and missed first shot at a firm. The way I look at it, I'm shorting the market until it gives me a reason to believe that the trend is actually broken. So going to stick to the levels and what's working and gotten positive for the last couple of weeks. But Alibaba is getting really close to that 108. It looks like nothing on the 1 minute chart, but just remember, this was an absolute floor on that daily, and that's what this is a reason why I like to short at 108. It's just support turns into resistance, and we're about $2 away from it, so trying to be patient. Lemonade's now calmed down a little bit, and so has NCLH, or at least is trying to. Those two feel like they're going to be relatively weak. I did want to check back in on, not Tesla, I mean, Tesla's booming. NIO, that was another one that we definitely thought could be relatively faded at some key levels. It just broke 20. So that's finally got up to a price, and again, like a specific prices, that floor from yesterday, that 20 even. So this is what I'm waiting around for. Find the short at a price that I like. If we're truly going to break out, fair enough. I still believe people are looking for exit opportunities in a lot of these names. As I just got on the offer and missed on NIO at about 1990. If I can get 85s, I don't want to chase this too far, but it just hit that 20 pretty quickly.
Yeah, we're going to hold on to this Ford and this Palantir. We're out of pretty much all of them, so let's find another name. Someone said stop ignoring Clover. Okay, so we'll go over to Clover. I was just there.
I was on the bid there. I never got
It's dancing, but I mean, I don't think we're ignoring this. Nice move up to 220. I mean, it stopped at $2 there. And again, just hard, man. Our charts right now just not participating here. So that's going to be a little bit of a hard time for us to look at some of these names. We'll try our best here to get to them, but Clover right now up to 218 and just waiting for something to load up here on that name. All right, let's check out Facebook quickly here. As the tech is starting to come back in, this might be a decent spot to start fading some of these names, guys. So let's maybe do that on this move. So Clover right now coming through to the downside, or sorry, Facebook coming now through to the downside might be something to look at. So that's another name here of concern. That's going to be Facebook. I think if you're going to short something, this is probably the name.
Yeah, and just going to quickly show you, I can actually show you Lemonade on that 15-minute. It made that push up to $20 here. Now it's starting to fade back in. Like I said, I got about 19.5 on that short. Maybe a little bit early, but it's close enough. I mean, the price I would have liked ideally is about 50 to 60s. I got 40s because I did miss that actual curl at the top when it tested 20 even. I'm looking for about 18 towards that pre-market bottom. My first out is going to be when it breaks that 19 even area, and then we'll see where it can go from there. Like I said, I wanted to take multiple swings at a firm. That one made the first bump up, and that wick, I mean, this is not, like, it didn't actually go to 37. That's just not a real fill. I got through 34, and I was looking to see if I could cash like a 35 area. That never came in, so I'm sticking to the names that we got. NCLH, Lemonade, and didn't get into NIO, NCLH, Lemonade, and a firm with a 3 that I definitely wanted to be into. Got 2 of those 3, a firm a hit, and NIO just ran away from me. There's not much I can do about it. Looks like that one didn't want to give me that fill at that 22.
Yeah, I'm talking with Juan here, but I don't understand even what he's saying. I logged out and back in, so we'll see if that can work for us. Probably not, but we'll see. Okay, so right now, let's just go forward here. Palantir, what else do we have? I mean, Ford, Palantir, we did have XOM. We got out of XOM, guys. We had XOM at 78, and yeah, that works, right? Logging out and back in. Honestly, oh man, too flustered here. I mean, I don't even have charts up, so I don't know what to do here. I can't trade anything, so That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to show you Facebook at least. 195, it's been battling at that particular price. I like 200, obviously. So I think the whole patience idea makes a lot of sense in days like today. I actually told Brandon it was just, you can always sit it out if you don't have any key levels that you can work off of. Like I said, I like 3 or 4 very particular names. But you're looking at the NASDAQ, okay, you tried to just break out. You're still going back and forth. This is whipsaw action. To tell me that we've even picked a direction here, it's a little bit more true on the NASDAQ than it would be on the ES, which is the other way. The ES, which is a heck of a lot weaker. Like, you're seeing a lot of weakness, relatively speaking, in the ES. So the SPY, not doing you any favors at this particular point. So I trade a little bit more lightly. It's really just that big tech, and Apple, hopefully this will actually load. Apple bouncing off that 200. Looking really good now. I mean, I don't know that it gave you a real test of that 200 period, but it certainly came close, and a tremendous opportunity to get into that one. Unfortunately, I don't have Apple. I wish I did. And I was on the bid of Clover. I think I told you guys I was just really, really cheap. Yeah, that just means I wanted it really close to $2. So I was on the bid at 03s. I know it came down to like 07 and then just made a bit of a run trying to break 225, but it didn't give me my entry, which had to be off of that $2 where I think it had some decent support.
All right, so looking at a blank chart here, I think Microsoft has an opportunity to go higher. Like, I mean, this is, honestly, I just apologize for everything here. And if one could, I mean, where's Lucas? We have a major, major problem. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have any. Yeah, okay, so guys, I don't know, Brendan, do you have any news stories or anything?
I got a chart.
Same. Hi. Dealing with the same. So keeping my eye on a number of things, including XPeng, as I mentioned earlier. I'll show you this chart because that's the only one I can find right now that's working. But XPeng, as I said, trying to get back towards 32 here and hold higher for XPEV. If you want to jump over to NIO quickly here, much bigger move all the way back to basically where it was yesterday. So nice look for some of the Chinese EV makers out of the gate here.
So I can show you this one. Hopefully this will actually work.
Yeah.
So NCLH, look, I have a few of these wicks on these charts that never really happened. NCLH holds at 18. I got some more shares on the way down, so let it make that break up off the fade and then come right back in. So I'm happy with the way that this one is at least working out, but it didn't happen on a firm the way that I would have liked it. The first stop out came in, and these wicks are ridiculous. It actually broke and then made a curl at 35. I did not get back into a firm. It's back at that price now, so this is the opportunity, I think, for me, to take like swing number 2 at a firm, but it'll be a relatively tight stop. I wanted to get closer to that 35, and then I want to make that curl trade. So watching a firm very closely. IMPP, I'm not ignoring it, but the way I see it, when you get a small cap that starts to roll over, it's like worry about the things that are not working as well, as opposed to worrying about the names that sort of going for you. I just took some profit as it broke 150, so that is working out. And of course, when I don't get to fill in NEO, short in front of 20, I still had my stop order. I don't want to be long. That's ridiculous. So I'm going to get out of that one. That was an accidental long. I actually wanted to short, never got it, and still had my stop order present. But hey, if I like to short at 20, I'll pay the spread, jump right back into it. It made a temp high at about 2015. When it came back down, I threw a 20 stop, intending to get short in front of it. I'm going right back to that well. But 15 is a new high on NIO. I'm still playing the fade game until some of these levels break. If you're looking at, I think it was INDO, that didn't halt up. That fell $2 off of the open. I'd bring up the chart if I could, but that got absolutely crushed. We'll check back in on that one a little bit later.
Yep. We are, again, guys, we are working on those charts. Just my frustration coming through, that's all. Okay, so I guess now I'm short Palantir for some reason, so let's just bid out of this one, and we'll clear out our Palantir trades and just double check all of our orders. I did attempt to think about going long here on Ford. We did miss that reload here on Ford, so it comes back in, and you can see some of these outs that have been starting to come through now with the charting, and apparently just all of our new trades will show up, but our old charting data won't, so that's what's happening right now. No idea what's going on with XOM, so let's just have a quick look. XOM here on the New York, down to $76. We were in at 78, out at 77.80. We talked about that trade real quick there on XOM, in and out on that, and I don't know what's going on with that name as it continues to make a move to the downside as well. So, and there we go. We just got our Ford long at 07 there again, so we're trying to defend O's. There's some size there, but that has nothing to do with it. I don't think size I was gonna say I don't think size matters today, and then I try to focus on stocks. But you could see $16 flat. I think is an area of there. So I'm gonna make sure that I have my stop orders out for that, as quotes seem to be working. It's just we are having a problem loading up data on charts. So quotes working fine, which is really all that matters for execution. So just making sure that I do have a stop order on Palantir, guys. On Ford, which I don't. So I'm gonna put a stop in now 16 flat here for Ford.
Yeah, and speaking of Alibaba, just me speaking of Alibaba, I said imminently it was about to get to 108. It looked like that was going to happen. It just got 106 half before turning around again. So as much as we got into NEO on a retest of those highs, you'll see it, across the board, NEO's in there at 1995, 2026 is that recent high. I never actually got into Alibaba. NCLH, that one's starting to head back southbound. Like I said, I got that first profit area, and now looking to see if it can test those pre-market lows. The first level will actually be 1730 and then 17 even, but NCLH starting to roll over. And again, remember, they reported earnings. If you wanted to hunt for a long, I think you're going over to something that didn't have the negative hang over it, like a CCL maybe that didn't have that bad report. But Brennan got a name for us?
Hertz Global, guys, another one that reported earnings in the pre-market, I believe it was, down here significantly. 1550, 15 ends up being support. Right back to, it's about to go green on the session, guys, despite pretty dismal report for HTZ.
Hertz. Hurt me.
Okay, so Ford right now starting to rock and roll. Yeah, good idea. I'm going to use some E-signal charts to go here as we can. So right now, let's just check out where Ford, what the high of the day was here. And the only problem is I got to like call it up here, then call it up down there. Let's go here. Let's just call this chart up for a 1 minute chart. We'll just use these. I think Brendan's right. Let's just use E-signal here, and then I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so Ford right now, the high of the day here is 1635. So we are long right now at 1607 on a nice little reload as Palantir just continuing to march, man, to the upside. We are out of Palantir. Good trade, though. Wow, I cannot believe how well Palantir's done. Look at this, guys, on PLTR. We were long a decent amount of shares on this 10 break right here. It's at 1054 right now. We've cashed out of Palantir, and we're making a decent amount of coin here today on some of these names. So what a battle back from yesterday. Yesterday, we kept battling the long all day long, or battling the short, I guess, with longs. That didn't work out too much. There's another piece out of Ford, as this is a Ford chart and we have Palantir up. There's Ford right now, looking to see what we're doing. Just out now at 30, some more shares here on Ford. Yeah, you know what? This is going to be bothering me to do that. Let's just hope these charts can reload and get back going. But Ford is the only long that I have on right now, and it is rocking 25 cents in the money. Look at these reloads. 1601, then we just got a reload at 1606. The NASDAQ is rocking, and we were 100% right on the call today. I even messaged the CEO of this company and was like, this market's going to rally. And there it goes, nicely done to the upside here as DraftKings, maybe another name, down to 19 bucks. That could be a long down here as well.
I'm going to quickly show you the ES here, trying to catch up to the NASDAQ right at resistance at 41.6. So that could be that turning point. So you're watching some of those travel names like, obviously like NCLH. Alibaba just got to 108 for the first time. It made a turn and a little bit of a curl, so some selling finally came into Alibaba at that 108 price, which is that level on the daily chart. I don't want to chase it too far, but if it's above 107, the risk to reward makes some sense. Remember, all of these ranges have expanded a ton. Alibaba has an $8 range at the open, so if you're not willing to give it a buck, buck and a half, VWAP sits $3 lower. So 2 to 1 is VWAP if you're giving it $1 half. And that's what you have to think about here. Time your entry points, understand that you might be holding on a little bit longer if you are convicted in a name. Going back over to Apple, that's continuing to be just an absolute monster. Getting back up to 157, and that could be huge. 50 minutes. Some of these charts are actually working for me, but I can just 157. The gap fills all the way to 160, so we filled half the gap on Apple, leading the charge in the ES and the NASDAQ. Brendo?
A huge move down in oil there as well, guys. Some of the energy stocks coming off significantly. Here's back to, it's down here right now, 97.50 for crude oil. So energy stocks coming off, helping things go back higher.
All right. Energy stocks starting to go offside there as well, obviously, as we talked about XOM earlier on. Let's just wait to see what we have in store for us here on some of these plays. So Ford still to the upside. Let's go back to XOM quickly here. I don't think anything will load for me anyways on this, but big time movement to the downside here, down to 75. That might have been a decent bottom. Again, yeah, just a little frustrating right now. We'll wait to see what happens with XOM here, but so far, so good, I guess, on XOM. Just needs to get back up to the upside. And if it does that, then I think we're laughing. But got to wait for oil. Oil right now, $97.
So NEO we're working here. NEO's still lower highs on the consolidation. It hasn't actually broken back above that 2015, but it's not falling like a rock either. So I'm in 1995. I'm only risking 20 cents, which seems like it's not a lot, but overall, it's made that top once already. Volume also starting to die down a little bit here. That's what I'm noticing. So if the ES doesn't get through that top, I think we'll be okay. There are some breakouts to be had, and I wanted to check out. And of course, lows. I don't actually trade lows today, and it makes a little bit of a break. So the dip buy and the stink bids might not be in on that one, unless you got in right at the open in front of that 207 area. Forget about getting into any of that lows. And Clover is off to the well.
Is it?
I mean, it's still, it did break 225 again. It's still above that pre-market high. I'm actually canceling my offer in front of $2. At this point, if $2 comes in, I don't want Clover anymore. So Baba, I'm dug in Alibaba. If it makes that break about 108.5, I'm going to get out of that one. Lemonade, I want to be in that as long as I can. It's still testing that 20 area. Still huge spreads on that stock, by the way. And then NCLH, which we were in profitable on NCLH, and then it made another run at the high of the day. That just still on the New York. That just made another run at that $18 price. We did take one price target on it, but 18 breaks and I'm out of NCLH. Can't load it.
Yeah. Okay. We're still battling here today. Rivian down to $58. Let's check out what NEO's at here today. Down to wow, yeah, it's bouncing nicely off that 1850 there in the pre-market as we're all the way up to here again. So I apologize. I'm going to be late on trading. I mean, I don't really have anything loading up that we haven't looked at yet. So that's why the charts. And if you're joining us for the first time, this is not a normal situation here for us. This is the first time it's ever happened, to be honest with you. Ford up to 1630. It's really the only name that I have on board right now. So again, apologize for that. But Ford right now, we like it. Apple up to what's Microsoft? We were long 270 off the sticky note today. 278. Wow. Goes Microsoft. Look at this bid that we had right here. Long 270, out 272, right? So we thought we were doing pretty good. Then we got out at 275 and was like, wow, that's a good trade. But no, comes all the way back in. Let's take a little bit piece more out on Ford. Ford is starting to fade back a little bit. It does make that high at 1640. So I think now definitely worth a little piece here to get something out on Ford if we can. But what's up, Brendo?
Some of the Russian stocks moving back to the downside here. I was just looking at Yandex, basically at day lows. So anything that's related to Russia or has Russian exposure right now, starting to sell off as the market rallies, guys.
And I'm just going to quickly show you Alibaba. It made that break, like I said, 108, give it a little bit of room. There's your wick off top or whatever you'd like to call it. Made a bit of a break of that 108. Now it's starting to come back in. Not really looking to add to that position unless it retests the high and has another failure. I'm on the bid at 6. I'll get on the bid again probably at 104.5. Then to look to see if I can get that one out. But market trying to make another leg in here to the upside. NEO, of course. Yes, there we go. So NEO, again, trying to make a run at that high. I don't like breakouts at these prices. Like, find something at a better price. I want to stick to short, and then if it breaks that level, I'm just going to get out and look for the next level up. IMPP, which is the small cap that we're in here, that's still heading, that's still heading to the downside, IMPP. Still heading to the downside, so really not too many concerns here. The other one, if you're watching that INDO, that was actually crazier. As it fell right at the open about $2, and it hasn't recovered. This is still falling and showing no signs of a bid. The longer it holds these levels, these pre-market levels, the better chance it has of making a bit of a run at that high. So it'll be at least a little bit concerned. If you're holding on to the short, you might want to consider taking some profit because the longer it holds these levels usually means that it might have a secondary run in it.
I mean, can you guys believe that AMC was where it was today? I mean, AMC this morning was down to 1380, guys. Like that's pretty low right there. 1380 for AMC, and then you got a huge bump right now. This name took off, man. This name took off to the upside there. So AMC, yeah, if you like that stock or you're into AMC at all, I mean that's a big time move there. So nicely done up to 1590. I don't want to fade this there, but AMC, a nice move to the upside for those guys. What else is dancing around here? What's AMD doing right now? AMD up to 110, I believe it got to. Yeah, 110, 109. So again, I have to find my E-signal chart to show you this. But is this the right chart? No. Is this the right chart? Yes. So let's go here. AMD, and just have a quick look. Where is the 50-period moving average? There's little things like that we're looking at here. So 107.50, nice little top of 110. This market probably does fade now. Let's try maybe a 109 short into AMD. 109 short isn't horrible as the NASDAQ is pulling back in a bit here, guys.
Yeah, as it starts to come back in, like for me, some of those names are still basically break even. One that I think we ignored it, but not yesterday. DraftKings, which was like a 10% and a huge runner. Now you don't want to load. DraftKings back at like 19. It closed at 60, so it's almost at its close price. Yesterday's close. I wanted to quickly see if I could have shown it to you, but it doesn't look like it wants to load past PayPal, which I was just watching. But DraftKings back to that 19.5, 20 level looks pretty interesting. It was super strong, but if it can't get past that hump, I think it could be in some trouble. Just looking to see when the market turns. I've already got a few names on. Where else can I add? Brendan.
Lack of liquidity right across the board this morning, guys. Wayfair reported very, very bad results here in the pre-market, all the way down here to 95. This thing's halted a couple of times. A few people talking about this. Yeah, Wayfair halted a couple of times trying to get back to the upside. Has now gone green on the day, guys, and ripping for W.
Wayfair does not have what you need, apparently.
Yep, or they do, and you're their only customer. Okay, so 110 maybe there. I'm not short AMD. Obviously, it didn't break 109, and now you can see the market starting to go back up to the upside here. 110.50 is going to be that support. I'm a bull in the market here. I mean, we are long. Wow, look at Ford, by the way. Ford continuing its march to the upside, and we've just been. I guess I could show you my real charts for Ford. We've just been long here at O's and then 07, and then now it's at 36 again. So we still have shares. So let's put an offer out and see if we get picked up at 37 here at all, or some of these half prints, dark pools, things like that. No, we missed it there. So let's hear if we get. Yeah, it's not going to give us 37s, is it? Let's take 36s then if we can get that. No, we can't even get 36s. All the way down to 34. Can you give me 34s? Let's take some 34s. Nope, we're not getting 34s. Okay, so see what I'm saying? There we go. We got 34s. But my offer, it's like this is part of what I'm trained to do, is like put bids out and offers. So sometimes we let the market chase down. Like instead of getting 38s there, I got 34s. Cost myself 4 cents. Just hit the market key and get out, and you solve that problem.
Well, you don't want to chase also, but.
Yeah, that was only 3 pennies, 3-4 pennies, and it wasn't a huge amount of shares. So that's that. Alibaba right up to that level, Neil.
So I got it.
Yeah,
it's still hanging there. I got 7.25. I mean, I did chase that about 25 cents or so, but it's still in that same range. By the way, NEO broke the high and then immediately turned around.
Yeah.
So look, if I'm in one time on NEO, it then breaks the high, I'm just going to jump right back in. It's the same consolidation, readjust to the top. If it comes back down into VWAP, like we're talking 60 to 70 cents at minimum for a trade. So to jump back into it and give it a second look kind of feels like a bit of a no-brainer. Alibaba, I mean, I hate to say it, but there's really not much to do with this trading. We waited for it to get to 108. It made a bit of a curl. If anything, I should have just been adding at about 107.5 there. So we're still holding Alibaba. I just added to NCLH, which is testing off of those highs. But I'm just looking for that pullback start to come in. I mean, it didn't work in Lemonade. I'm looking to get back into that one as well. But the market's starting to pull back. Looks like these shorts are going to start to come in.
There we go. Yep. Start throwing them bows right now because there it is, a beautiful short. You can't see it on Alibaba, but we are short. Look at that. We're short 107.60. It's $1 in the money right now. And now we are frozen. I'm completely frozen right now. We have no quotes whatsoever, Lucas. We are back in business right there. So, all right, let's go. We are now frozen again. Now we are back. 106.50 coming back into the market right now. So, yeah, buddy, let's go. Hey, look, man, every day is a different day here, and we're having some fun.
The good thing is, like, keep in mind here, like, our execution is fine. Like, if you have an entry point, you've got a stop order, you're still good. Like, there's nothing wrong with the connection to the market. There's nothing wrong with going to Brennan every now and then to see what's going on in the broad market. let's see happening now, buddy.
Hey guys, the selling continuing. Let's have a look at where we stand right now. You can see the S&P about 1.6 to the downside, 2.25 for the Dow. It is the NASDAQ here that's trying to lead us back to the upside, 1.3 currently for the NASDAQ. TSX here in Toronto down just 0.8 right now, so well off the lows. Cryptocurrencies continue to get hit. Crude oil, yeah, it's one of those days, crazy day. Let's shift over if we can. We'll try. And shift over might not be working either, guys. So one of those days, unfortunately, we'll send it back over to you.
So it's working right now, and just quickly showing Alibaba goes right back to the initial opening top, which is about 106.5. And right now, that's where the buyers are stepping in. Lo and behold, right, like buyers step in where there was previous resistance, turning into initial support. I still like the VWAP retrace here, so I'm going to hold out for that, and we'll see if it does want to go. Like I told you, NEO made that move where it does the little jab step, breaks the high, and then starts to come back in. So I did just get this. Pretty much the exact same trade. I mean, 98s versus 95s. It's basically the same thing. As that tries to head back into VWAP, I'm going to start taking some profit on this one as it gets to that halfway point into VWAP. We talked a little bit about Tesla and then never revisit it. So there we go. I'll rectify that problem. Actually working. 750 the level right now on Tesla. Broke that 700, got to 750, held for like 10 to 15 minutes. This is one, like if it does a consolidation from here and manages to break out, there's still tons of room. The chart's actually working pretty well here. Tons of room. But remember, 764 looms. That would be turning red to green. So that could provide resistance or cover on that 750 area. Either way, it looks like the shorts are actually starting to come in here on several of these names. About to get hit on BABA, hopefully, on that bid. And then going back to a firm, which I did not get back into a firm, obviously, as the charts were messed up. But it is at that 35 point. So that's one that we could try to work back into as it's starting to capitulate a little bit. It never went to 37. That's a phantom print. 35.5. The actual high there on a firm.
Yeah, we're just waiting here to get, obviously we talked about our chart issues and whatnot, but we'll see. Hopefully we can just deal with it. Alibaba, nice trade here. As it's starting to go to the downside, we talked about that. We're short up here, 107. What exactly are we short? I just looked at my own account. 107.60, 107.58 short on Alibaba. So that looks like that's going to print for us. We're $1 in the money on Alibaba right now. I am debating the reload right now, although the market's coming back down. So I am looking at Ford here. So if we just call it Ford, we'll see what's happening with them. It's now broken back below. So we still have a little piece of Ford. I'm still waiting for it to come back in here just to make sure I have some buys out there. I do. I have one at 06. So if we come back in again and then get reloaded at the same price we have now, I'm down with that. So we'll see if that can come through. That's going to be Ford trying to come through here on the upside now. So if we get filled at that bottom, then we'll take it. But Ford right now trying to do a little bit of a dance. If we get a 1606, we'll do that. Let's check back in on the biggest winner for me today by far. Well, actually, Microsoft is big. Ford is, they're all the same. What am I talking about? But what about Palantir, man? Look where we had that long. It sucks that we dropped it, but again, we're a little bit gun shy of PLTR, obviously, for obvious reasons, I feel like. But you could see this one up to 1058 right now. PLTR continues to work here.
Yeah, now they're starting to come through. So it took a lot of patience this morning, and I definitely bungled a firm. There's no question about it, because there was a reentry for me on a firm, and I wanted that name, feeling it to be relatively weak. BABA finally came in. I got the first target, and then if it breaks VWAP here, I feel like you could get a heck of a lot more. I'd love to be reloading this if I can. I'm going to tempt fate by the one that have all kinds of trouble calling up has been NCLH. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so it seems like it's fine now, man. I was able to reload NCLH. I was having trouble calling this name up. It broke that 18, made a curl, still below pre-market highs, right? So I got that reload. Forget about that 1750 out that we got before. I'm shooting VWAP for the next fill to the out on NCLH. I do still want to hold that for a little bit lower. Remember, picking on them in particular, not because I don't think the reopened play is still there. It is. COVID numbers are fine. But they had a bad report today. So if I'm going to short something on a pop in a strong market, I want them to have bad earnings or just stink as a company. NCLH is the former of those. Brendan?
Some of the retailers bouncing back up here. Just noticed, not necessarily a retailer, but it kind of is. Etsy having quite the day here. Went green and then some, guys. Back through 118 there on volume for Etsy.
All right, all right. I don't know. I feel like maybe we should have cashed out of some of that Alibaba there. I mean, again, if there's going to be a short name if there's going to be a name that we're short that we like, it's Alibaba. We're short at 107.60 here. It just did touch down 105.90, 106. So that should have been a buck. That was $1.80 in the money, and still more money coming. So let's just slow down. We don't have a losing trade on today, so I'm thinking that charts has been my downfall because we do not have a losing trade on today. And we have Monster. Well, we have XOM we had early in and out of that even before the market opened. But Microsoft, Monster winner, now $8 in the money off the sticky note if you have that. And again, if you're following for the first time, what's up? I mean, this is what we wrote down here on the sticky note. I feel like the market is in a buy zone and capital may be deployed. Could be a long squeeze. I mean, what else can we say, or what else can I say on here? Microsoft, Palantir, BABA short. I'm short right now. And then we are going to look at oil at 100 and try the long XOM. So, I mean, right here, we'll put this sticky note in the chat. Thank you for watching, guys, here today. But definitely check that out. Microsoft is going bonkers there after Star. And we love Microsoft. 278. Look where we're long. 270 down here. So Microsoft continues to work. We are out of it, though, but a nice little long for Microsoft. What isn't working today is really the question. Clover up 7%.
Clover was up more than that. Clover is actually coming back down. So, I mean, that $2 is actually possibly going to come into play. It's back at that 212, trying to hold VWAP here. So what I kind of feel like happens is the higher quality names catch a bit of a bid. You then run into some trouble funding things like buying a Clover, which is maybe retesting some of those lows. It's not back down to that $2 range. And if it gets below 2, I think it's in a world of hurt. That hasn't actually happened yet. BABA's back to that 8 level. To me, that just means it's a reload. It's not actually at that 8. It's very close to that 108 level. I'd like to be reloading off those prices. I just haven't had a chance. It's only at 107.20. I want it closer to that 108 to get the reload on BABA. As the market bounces up, it gives a chance to get back into some of those trades. And NEO is a similar name. It's right back at that 20 level. It's got that high. If it takes it out again, I'm not going to go for a third time on NIO. Twice is definitely going to be enough there. Rather go at something a little bit relatively weaker, but going to rinse and repeat that trade. See if you can get back into VWAP on NIO. A firm close to that 35.5. It's back in the pocket at that 35 area. And NCLH as well, sort of right back up around that 18.25. If it takes that out, I don't know if I want to get back into that one as well. And just checking back in on IMPP. Even that's catching a bit of a bid. It's not much of one, but if it rolls over from here, I'm going to get back on that bid at 140. Want to make sure we're taking profit on this. And if it breaks back out, no reload unless it's closer to that $2 range, which was the initial pre-market high.
All right. So we're just playing with fire again, I feel like, as Alibaba's come all the way back up to the upside. First of all, we'll ring the register again as we'll drop down some more money for Ford. We still are long Ford. You guys can see that. We only have 2 positions, long Ford, short BABA. And I'm going to reload this Alibaba trade if it comes back up. We actually just tested that. So we should have probably been reloaded there. I didn't even notice how high this went up. So let's put another offer here, like 107. 50, something like that, to see if we can get a reload here on Alibaba. We are at 107.50, so if that comes through, great. We'll try to hit that. So Alibaba 107.50. We're going to short that again. We do have our target for the out if it does break above this 108.20. So just got to take out 108, and then we'll see about the high there on Alibaba. But it is a reload spot for me anyway. So let's see if that does come through. Alibaba on a reload short. That's what we're looking for right now. Roku back up to 123 here as I see that today. And then our AMD, AMD is a name that we could probably short right now. Yeah, when we're ready, why don't we go to Miss V as well? There it goes. Good call there, Tim. Miss V, what's up?
Hey guys, I hope you're all having a good day so far, and I kindly remind you to like this video. We're super close to get 2,000 likes, so please smash it right now, and back to you guys.
All right, back to us. All right, so we're just waiting for more news here. If Brendan comes up with anything, he'll drop it. But right now, it seems to be pretty quiet, which is good, man. No news is sometimes good news. And on that note, what's up, Brendo?
Climb back to the upside continues here. Nothing significant as far as additional headlines. Wanted to mention INDO halted currently, guys, back to the upside. So volatility on INDO.
Did you say upside halt on INDO? No. Yes. Okay, so you're going to have to watch out for that IMPP because that's exactly the same thing that I'm worried about. It was in the money and working to the downside. And the longer it holds those bottoms, yeah, as I look, it's actually pressing back to my entry price at 70s. INDO halted up, but guess what? There's still $16, which was the lower high in the pre-market. It can open flat, well, so right now indicating opening flat at 1390, but it can open and reject that without a secondary halt. So I'd like to see if it tests 16 on the reopen. That's where I'd like to be shorting it. You have to always watch out for these low floaters that do not break the pre-market low when they start to capitulate. A lot of times that can mean it's got a secondary push. Looks like that's the case here in INDO. Thankfully, waiting for that to happen and then looking for that 16 level. For some reason, I didn't get into Alibaba there.
There it is, another one.
Did Bob actually hit 108? No, it did not, did it?
No, we got 107. I mean, we told you guys, and this is what we're doing, man. Like we said, why do you need charts, man? Just spin the wheel and see what happens. So I am going to be, just like I'm disabling my buy key, no more charts for me ever, I think. As today, it's just been a fantastic move for me to the upside here with my net anyways. Look at Alibaba. We just took that short right there, and we just cashed it out for 50 cents, like in 5 minutes, I was going to say, but less than that. There it is. Reloaded that short and then just took it out at 107.01. So we still do have a short again. I mean, we may put it on. The problem is if you keep on putting these things on, at some point, they're not going to work. So we'll try Alibaba one more time to the upside. We've made a decent amount of cash on it today.
Nothing's really changed in Baba, though.
No, that's what I'm thinking. So we're going to go short right here again. We took the 107.50. And again, we told you, like, it was just tongue-in-cheek last night with Arun and someone saying, are we trading real money? I mean, yeah, we're trading real money. So here it is again, another move here on Alibaba. We'll take that quickly, and now it's nicely done in the money. So good so far for us on Alibaba.
It just spiked to 108. Like I just got this. Real.
What the hell just happened?
It just did a spike to 108, and I got my fill there, 107.77.
Yeah, what happened there?
I don't know why I picked 77,
it spiked.
but it did make that move and then immediately rejected right back into that 107. So somebody hit a market key on Baba, and then it just came right back in. So I'm going to go like. That was actually a very good fill. So
I got out there too.
I'm gonna. I just got on the bid in literally about 25 seconds. There, it was filling me upside and then giving me 106.50 for a bit of a scalp trade. That INDO, however,
that sucks. We were loving life there.
Oh, now we're not. Is it? There we go. We're still waiting for the open. That's in about 1 minute. So my plan of action, if it didn't make sense the first time. If we open and reject 16, I'm looking to fade off of that level. Just keep in mind, if it opens flat, getting to 16 would be in halt territory because that's 10%. It's over 10%. So got to tread at least a little bit lightly with that trade if we do get that open. But it is $16 that I'm looking for the fade on that one. I just sort of feel like it's gone that far. The market's actually making power moves to the upside. Usually that bodes for capitulations on some of these small caps.
Yeah, for sure. So far, so good, guys. I mean, the market is rallying today a little bit, as you guys can see. So just be very, very careful with any of your trades on now, especially if you're looking short. The market is just nicely done to the upside. Yeah, we got stopped out there, so it was like a 40-cent hit, but that's why we try to cash in when the market is available to us. So far, so good on that one. But Alibaba, we reloaded into the short, so we are short one more time here in Alibaba. So still to come, we'll see where it wants to go from here. So Alibaba still into that short now, and that's what that is. And that's about it, man. Ford rocking to the day's high right now, so we'll go yes on that one. Rocket ship to the north side. We still should be long Microsoft, which would be $10 in the money, but we're not. So let's go over to Brendo one more time.
You have to mind the giant hole in this chart, but Nikola, guys, back to day highs on significant volume as well. So big pop as well for Nikola off that earnings report that actually wasn't that great, but even Nikola catching a bid.
So INDO just reopened, essentially flat. I mean, it was 1391 the halt, and it opens basically right at that price, maybe 88 or something like that, but no real bounce, and I'm trying to be a little bit patient with this. NEO took out the high, so we scalped them out in front of 80s, and then it took out that high a day. I'm not going to the well a third time on NIO, so we're just down to that Alibaba. IMPP made a bounce at the same time that Indo did, but it looks like it didn't exactly break out the tops. This is a pretty weak reopen on INDO. I thought we'd be retesting 16. I might take a shot shorting it and then using the 1450s. And I still like 16 a heck of a lot better. So I'm trying to be patient with this. It's just barcoding and battling back and forth. You're getting 1375, a bit of a bid. You're getting offers at 1420 here. If it breaks down, I can short it off that 1450 high, but I got to be at least a little bit patient. BOBA, I'm still waiting for VWAP. Not a heck of a lot to change with that particular name.
Yeah, all right, let's go over to Clover. Yeah, Alibaba right now, 50 cents in the money. It's still all good on that one. We'll see if he wants to continue its move to the downside. Unfortunately, that happened, right? But there it is now. We reloaded it, and now it's Tank City on Alibaba. So a good little look there. The market's still blowing up, like AMD, wow. I mean, Microsoft, wow. All these names, wow. And we talked about that coming in, man. And I even said it to Brandon back there, not our Brendan, the other Brandon. And I was like, you know what? This market's probably going for a liftoff here off the open, and unfortunately it's still only 10.17. So yeah, we didn't expect it to be this high up, almost going to flat now on the NASDAQ. Unbelievable move to the upside, and holy shnikes, Batman, look at Palantir. We were long 10 off the open, guys. Long 10, that's a chicken dinner winner. Like, this is a monster move to the upside there, as we thought off the open. But wow, Palantir excited now up to the upside there. Taking out 10s? This is nuts. I was not expecting this from our friend PLTR. Nothing but love for you all the way back up to the upside. Was down 8% today, now plus 6p. So a nice little move upside there for Palantir. Wow, NVIDIA getting back to green right now. And I said, like, how good of a buy was that one down near the bottom? NVIDIA, 2 bills. Like, wow, that was off the open, and now just my aunt is calling me. What's up, aunt?
Everyone, just try to remember the difference between like the day trading and actual like long term. So the NASDAQ is still, so the ES is down 1.3. The NASDAQ's still in the red. And if you look at the overall market, they're still in that pullback. But individual names have given you fantastic bids here. I did get into this INDO, and it is testing like it wants to make another run. I still say 16 is a better price, but I can't ignore it. The open, it failed at 14.50. So I had the first shot here, risking about $1. It was 13.75, 14.50, throw in 25 cents worth of slippage. We're risking about $1, and 1-to-1 is actually better than this 12 consolidation point. So I'm going to get on the bid in front of 12.50. That'll be where the first out is going to be on INDO, and then from there I'm looking at 11.12 where it's already put in a bottom. I'd expect there to be buyers on this stock. In this type of a market, I think the buyers are going to be a little bit emboldened. BABA, I didn't get the reload a third time on Alibaba. I think that's definitely the one you want to get back into, as it's giving you a couple of good scalp trades off of that 107.50-ish area, 108. That could be in play for us. Then IMPP, which I said made a run, so exactly at the same moment that we halted upside on Indo, that's when IMPP did this breakout, but it didn't get to that 170, so there was no reload to be had in that particular name. Tesla, for those of you checking in on that 750 level, it broke and then is checking up here at about that 765. Closed at 764, so that's basically flat, turning red to green. That was that next resistance point. Looks like it's having that bit of a battle here at that 765 on Tesla.
All right, so we are reloaded right now, and we'll see if, there it is, on BABA. So there, BABA should be working for my day trades. There it is right there. So there's another reload for Alibaba. Upside, it just goes down to 107.20. We're at 107 flat again, so if that can reload it back to the downside, we will take Alibaba now, obviously, if it comes back in. We're going to use 108 as our out. I know it wicked up there, but that's just going to be the out that I'm going to use here for Alibaba. I feel like this name, obviously, with earnings out and things like that, it did touch $100 today in the pre-market. It actually broke, it shows like 99.66. So let's see if Alibaba continues to be weak, as the NASDAQ, I just said it's going to turn positive, and here we go. NASDAQ going to turn positive after being down 3%. So the march is on now in this market, and it's just crazy because the sticky note has this. I mean, I'm long down here at 270. Unbelievable trade, and we don't even have it on anymore. We thought $5 was pretty good. But there it goes, Microsoft rally mode. We said they would buy all the high quality names today. Didn't think Palantir would rip as much as it did. But there's Microsoft, and there's Brendan over there at the big screen.
Hey guys, yeah, busy morning. Unfortunately, not going to have our charts for this, but I can show you INDO this way. It was holding this 1350 area in the pre-market, gave you 1350 down to about 13 as an area of support to kind of work off of. I just very simply took that break to the downside. That gave you more than $1.50 straight down on INDO, but had to be watching it. It was a little bit thinly traded, so to get fills on that initial move was pretty hard. It's going to look kind of ridiculous to show, but trust me, there was trading that happened here. If you look at a chart of Lemonade this morning, so like long above that support area from aftermarket yesterday, came down to 18.5, 1875, and held in the aftermarket. So straight to the upside this morning. Obviously doesn't age well. Now at 22, but nice $1.50 there for Lemonade on the long side, guys.
Yeah, Lemonade, man, that's the one. That's the sword that we died on. And to be honest, when we come back at lunchtime, I'm probably just going to be back shorting that name. As far as I'm concerned, that's about as bad a quarter as you can have, and the squeeze is the only play. So I took 2 swings at it. We're going to take a third. Indo just gave 1250s, so I got that first leg out. Now I'm actually going to move higher on this bid. I was at 1155. But given the way that it already started to buy up here at that 1250, it was a decent bounce back into VWAP. I'll zoom in so maybe it's a little bit easier to see. It made one test at about 1275 and then broke that level, gave me the fill, and couldn't get to that 1250 mark, and then it pressed right into VWAP. I feel like it wants to stair step to the downside, but if it holds 1250, decent chance for retesting those 40. So what I want to do here is expect that if it breaks that 50, maybe it isn't going to go the full dollar and wants to only go to 12. So I want to pump that bid from about 1175, 1180, and then just get in front of the $12 level, anticipating that it might not have as big of a capitulation as I'm anticipating if it breaks that level. Alibaba, for whatever reason, as it gets back and forth up to these prices, it's just having a lot of trouble breaking out of the range. I would have expected by now that you should be hunting back down to VWAP. It's shown that it's one of the weaker names here, and at least we're pretty patient with it. We said, look at that top end of the range on the 15. The daily chart's a better look. Look at that top end of the range on the 15 was showing you that previous high at 109. You go to the daily, over and over again, that 108 had been support. So we waited for that short. I'm surprised it hasn't fallen a little bit further than that. But at this point, the market strength is what's going on here. And that's, I think, the only reason why Bob was holding up. Any significant turn, and it's going to fall like an absolute rock, as INDO seems to be doing right now, but only about $1 in the money, about 30 more cents, and I will take that next leg of profit. Anytime we get a halt trade that I like, I'm jumping right over that name and then making that reopen style trade. Like, that's just a setup that I'm going to take 10 times out of 10. It's still having a bit of a bid. I was just there in front of 1229, sorry, in front of 12 even. It got down to about 1230. 29 looks like the bottom. We missed by about 15 cents or so on INDO. If you're looking at NIO, that one took out the top. We were able to scale some of it out. And then we got re-engaged right here at 2011. I'll zoom out so you can maybe see the arrows a bit better. And then it broke the high. I did not jump back into this trade. It is pulling back in. But again, when I re-entered that trade, I was only giving it to about that quarter range and a little bit higher. Not going to dig in too deep on NIO. The breakout looks pretty clean at this point. And then going back to the one that I said I'd wait till lunch to try to pick it up, I think it's going to give an opportunity. I still like some of the value names. I still like Lowe's Report. Not running away because it's tech that's leading the rally. So that's going to give an opportunity in some of the non-tech names that have not made those bounces. We still have to loom with what's really going on in the overall market, which is the Fed and interest rates and yada, yada, yada. And so there can be some value in those names, which have not run so far today. Brendo?
Yeah, a few surprising names leading back to the upside. Here's another one. Rocket companies, guys. This opened this morning 1050, 1060, up $1, straight to the upside for RKT as well.
Discombobulated. Okay, yeah, Neil and I just talking under our breath here because it is, look, and we'll talk about this. Whoa, okay, Alibaba, okay. Yeah, nice little $2 winner. Whoa, sorry, $1.20 winner here on Alibaba. So this is going to be a good trade for me here coming through. I'm hoping for anyways. Alibaba to the downside right now. Yes, sir. Okay, let's take a piece out. Why the heck not? You know what? No. Hold Alibaba.
It,
let's hold this. Hold it, man. Yeah, because this stock hopefully coming to the downside right now, so let's do that. Alibaba right now coming to the downside. We did already take the 50 cents on the first piece. Look at all these reloads, man. Like, hopefully these charts can load up, and this could be a trade of the day because I think both of us have these shorts and made sense. And Neil, you correctly identified, obviously, that level in the pre-market.
All in on that trade.
Yeah, you said, like, guys, watch out for 108 on Alibaba. Alibaba was at like 2 or 3, like when we sort of both picked it out, but you definitely mentioned that on the live feed. So what a great trade that's been for anybody here with Alibaba, and shout out to Neil on that call out. Okay, Ford, what's up, Randy? What? Ford went all the way to 1670, and I'm here twiddling my thumbs. Okay, that just happened. So let's see if we still have a piece on this one. Long Ford, as you guys can see, at 1607. We still wish we were long Softy. Here it comes back in. Let's look out for this break. I just think that Microsoft's up a little bit here, probably a little bit too much. So we'll wait to see it's positive now. We'll see a 279.60 break. Although actually, now that I think about this, my charts, these levels won't be right. So unless they are, I'm gonna have to double check on eSignal, but let me find the 50 period on Microsoft. I think we should probably start looking for shorts. But, oh, wow, there it goes, Neil. Good call on the hold as well. Alibaba, $2. There it is, $2 in the money for BABA.
I wanted to show Robin. Well, I can't show you Robinhood here, just breaking back to view up. There's a lot of names that made these parabolic moves, which are starting to roll back in. Robinhood, one of them, back below 11. I have a gap in my chart. I think a bit of a data issue on some of the names that I have not looked at already.
A bit of a data issue, yeah.
I'm trying to downplay
Small data issue.
Small data issue. INDO, there is an iceberg buyer at 1250, so that just means somebody's on the bid. It shows like 100 or a couple of hundred shares, but really they've been buying a heck of a lot more than that, and it has yet to break. So I've moved. I actually am not on the bid anymore, because if it breaks that buyer, I don't know how far it's going to flush. I feel like some people that are long might throw a stop in if that 1250 breaks, and I want to take advantage if it starts to roll over. But there is an iceberg standing in the way of that turning into a bigger win. The other one, that IMPP, at this point, it's like you lick the wounds on the shorts. It didn't work. Affirm was a loser. Lemonade was a loser. NEO was mixed. NCLH didn't work. But when it's in the money, you now want to try to hold on to it. I missed the reload on IMPP on that halt, but I'm not back on the bid. I actually just canceled at 150. I'm going to get back on the bid at that 140 level. So if things start to roll from here, if they have not broken out at this point, anything that tried to go and didn't break, and when the market, the ES did break out as well, right? Even though it's back below that resistance level. Anything that didn't go, you kind of want to hold on to that short, because you've definitely got the direction right. And then anything that looks, I'm going to attempt fate buy here. Here we go. Anything that looks a little bit overextended as well, that has pullback, you want to ask yourself, do you have a key level you can work off of? And I'm pulling up DraftKings, which is finally coming up here. Because what I wanted to point out was, remember DraftKings was so strong the last couple of days. It didn't even get anywhere close to that 21 level, which is the gap fill. That's the gap fill this week to 21 or 21.50. So it needs to go at least 50 to 60 more cents before I think you're touched resistance. That's one that has so much room. You got to be super patient with it. And it was so strong that I don't think you want to fight that short, even though I didn't feel like it had any reason to go up the last couple of days. Just more of a squeeze play. Brendan?
All right, just be careful with long positions here, guys. There's a few more headlines coming across right now. Not a huge reaction to the overall market, but we did get a bit of a downtick there. I was watching some of the travel names. NCLH, one of those, had a big flush there all the way back down to 18.25. But yeah, just be careful on the long side for the moment. Anyways, a few more headlines coming through on the Russia-Ukraine situation. Let's get a quick check on how things in Europe are shaping up. Pretty ugly over there too, Miss V.
Right, Brandon, European markets hit 9-month lows today, and banks are under pressure. UniCredit trading in Italy, leading the losses down more than 11%. Back to you.
Yeah, we're trying to bounce, but still needs to hold some key levels here. Still 1.6 for the S&P, guys.
All right, so here's Alibaba. It's well below the 50 period. Yeah, thanks for those updates, guys. I mean, obviously today, we sit here and we trade, and we understand that there is obviously some major events happening worldwide. So, okay, Alibaba there, downward movement, still short. We're still good on that one. We wanted to check out Softy, where that 50 period was. So let's have a quick look as I change one chart and not the other. Let's go here. Microsoft 2, okay, it's still below, it looks like, still above, sorry, as it's starting to go upside. Yeah, so this is where we're talking about for Microsoft. It has to take down 279. If it breaks 279 to the downside, then I think we can look at some Softy, but it's still pretty strong. What else? I mean, where's AMD right now? We'll just call it up. I have to keep changing it on both. Oh, AMD's pretty close. So that's pretty close to snapping. But again, its high was 111. Still a lot of upside to go here. I mean, I don't know, like, not trying to make like a prediction here on what any of these governments are going to do. But I mean, AMD seems to have bounced bounced off that 109.50 level. Maybe the market is now trying to find its base. Let's just call up the Qs and see where we are on the moving average here for the triple Qs. So same thing. Yeah, I guess it's going to look like AMD bouncing right now long. So the market's bouncing long side right here. So maybe it's time we take out a little bit on Alibaba because, again, I mean, we want to try to hold it, and we will hold it. It's just, I think we're done pretty good, man. It's $2 in the money. 105.3 right now, Alibaba. We could take a piece out and still hold the rest. So this is not a problem for us. But Alibaba right now looking to make a move to the downside, it looks like.
Yeah, and Square briefly positive, sorry, negative to positive as well. Remember Block, they haven't actually reported yet. We're still waiting for Block to report. That's the last of those, I guess, the bigger fintech names to come across the wire. And maybe that could signal a bit of a bottom. But you're getting a monster rally. Look, at missing a bit of the chart there, but that $90 level was breached and then it came right back in. So what you have is that classic wick off top. That's what it looks like on the 15. It looks a little bit less convincing until you get to that 91, but I like that higher time frame look. If it gets anywhere close to that high, again, that's a little bit more fadeable, given the fact that there's a risk-off notion to the trade in Square because you have yet to report, and they could be under a little bit of pressure. I'm not at the point yet that I want to give up on Alibaba, but INDO is definitely this buyer that's sitting here at 1250, like just no signs of it going away. At this point, getting in front of it again and simply bidding in front of that 1250 to take some more profit makes all the sense in the world. Of course, as I say that, like other buyers are stepping in. So I'm going to sit on the bid. If it breaks and capitulates, I still have a piece of it. But that iceberg showing no signs of breaking. It did test it one more time. It's hard to see. But it did break for a brief second there and then just was right back on the bid after. Went about 5 or 10 cents and then was right back on the bid. And that got some buyers to jump in front of it, and that's why you're seeing a bit of a spike. There's always a risk that it retests that high and makes a break. And if it makes that break of 1450, not touching shorts until about 16. If you happen to be long this name, that 50 buyer is real. Not a horrible place to put a stop if you are long. But again, I'm only playing the shorts when you've gone this far and already put in a failure, pre-market failure at $20 even. As long as we're below that 1650, it's only a short for me, just a matter of what level.
Yeah, the market, though, is starting to battle again here, man. So, darn it, I hope we didn't miss Alibaba's move down. Like, we were sort of trash-talking it as it was going to the downside. I still think there is some love. I just put a bid here just to show you. Oh, that's XOM chart. I was looking at XOM here, actually. I put a bid at 103 is what I was saying for Alibaba. We'll get to that in a second. Yeah, 75.60 held on XOM. XOM's only down 1%. It seems more because of this move downside, but it was up so much to begin with, Alibaba. So XOM. So that's why this move down looks like that. Baba. Here it is right here. So Alibaba, we're going to have another quick look. It just took that period out right there, 106. So yeah, probably right now, I think, why not? Let's just put a bid out now on Alibaba. I mean, this is $1.50 in the money. I think, there we go. So we just took that. So there it is. We took that Alibaba. You could see 106.10, I believe. I just hit bid enter. Yeah, 106.12 there for $1.50. So bang on Alibaba. Another one. Not my number one stock today, but we're happy with Alibaba as it's another one. Shorts, and just a nice out there. We will hold out for that 105 area, but lower than that. I said I put a bid here, 103. I think if we take down 104, then we do have a straight move down here to 103, basically where we opened. I mean, we opened at 100, but just this bouncing around spot where there was some decision making where we got out of Microsoft, you could see 103. So let's see. It's going to look like a bad move for us on Alibaba as we just got out 30 cents ago. But here it comes back down in. We still are short. BABA, Alibaba, the name that we like to the short side. Microsoft, wow, 281 and still kicking it, man. To the north side goes Microsoft. Monster move here. Let's just call it up on the chart quickly. MSFT. I was going to short it. No, that's not a great idea. So Microsoft right now, nothing but love straight to the upside here for MSFT.
Yeah, someone asked, how big is the buyer on INDO at 1250 I was talking about? Because it's an iceberg, there's no way to know. I just know that the display is never more than a few hundred shares, but there's clearly way more buying than that. And every time the level breaks, someone just jumps right back in, and they're only displaying. Like, see if I can show you the level 2 on INDO there. I was still looking at Square, but it's not as if they're displaying a ton. I just know that there's a lot of bids that are beneath that, like a couple of hundred shares on ARCA, 100 shares on BATS. But there's certainly a lot of support of that level. It's just they're not actually displaying the size. And every time it breaks, it just broke it again. And then it's right back on that bid. This time, like I said, I got some out in front of it because I don't want this retaking the highs, and I just sat there and then didn't take $1.30 on the trade. That would be a little bit ridiculous, so I made that adjustment. I'm not dissimilar to my target in Alibaba. I'm actually sitting, if you look at the opening range here, maybe this will be easier to see. If you look at the opening range, the support came in between 102 and 103. And that was resistance early in the pre-market. Then the first time it bounced off 100. It bounced off 100 the second time, and that's where the consolidation was. So that's where I want to sit. I'm sitting right in the middle of that 102 to 103 range, and I'll rest there the entire time, waiting for this to capitulate. I just haven't seen any signs that this one is wrong. Lemonade broke out that top and wouldn't stop, and NCLH and NEO kind of went back and forth. Affirm blew it out, but BABA's the one that has respected that level, so that I don't see any reason not to hold on to that trade, at least for the time being. If you're still looking at, yes, is rolling over a little bit here, but if you're still looking at Tesla, the real key is it just failed at that 764 close price, made a break up, and it's starting to come back in. It's always a bellwether, but if we get back below 750, I'd be at least a little bit concerned about some of those longs pulling back. Square was the one I just showed you I would have liked. Yeah, that's starting to roll. Data not there. That's starting to roll over. Looks like it's not even going to challenge 90 even.
Okay, so new position alert, AMD into the short right now. So we are short AMD 109.13 right now. We missed that trade. It should have been 109.40. Here it comes to the downside. Alibaba right now, $2 in the money for Alibaba. Short 107.50 right now. A nice move to the downside. And we are short AMD as well. And then we're long Ford. So 2 shorts, 1 long. Let's get this party started with Brendan Wickens over at the big desk.
Nicola, we mentioned a couple of times, guys, back to we're trying to hold some day highs. This was this headline that was the biggest positive. They said they're going to deliver up to 500 of those electric trucks this year. So nice look here, up to 750 so far today for Nicola.
Yeah, you know what? The wick off top on Nicola is actually gorgeous. 765, and I'm just looking at, here we go. Just looking at this rollover, because yesterday, that's about as fall off a cliff, afternoon resistance, previous support, roll over at a cliff like that, and then put a wick top at that high. If it gets back to 765, for a lot of these names, it's only going up because of the squeeze play, right? It's a squeeze through and through. I think there's going to be sellers at each of those key capitulation levels. It looks like it was the right call on Indo. Whoever was buying, and again, if you have access to a level 2, watch that time in sales. If more shares are going off than what's showing on the bid, and there's 100 shares in the bid, and it keeps selling, you see thousands going off, and that means it's probably an iceberg. So that buying has led to this bouncing a little bit here, so thankfully we took some off. If it wants to reject that halt price at 14, maybe it's worth a reload, but I don't see any need to rush into this one reloading. If it takes out the top, there's always a chance it could halt again. If it breaks down from here, I'm holding to these lows at $11. So it's either break even on the last third, or it's out for a $3 winner, or $2.50 to $3 winner on INDO, and nothing in between at this point. Either it works and gives the full move, or it's going to break back out at those highs, in which case I'll be looking for 16 as a re-entry point. It's going to be a bit of a deceiving board here, but we're going to go to Brendan for Sector Watch. Obviously, a lot is still red, but that doesn't tell the full story.
A number of individual names with individual reasons to be higher today, including Moderna here, guys, to the upside. Etsy we talked about as well. Overall, 1.6 right now for the S&P. That's kind of the lay of the land, though. Financials leading, as I mentioned right out of the gate. It was banks and some of the travel names under the most pressure right early on in the pre-market. So banks still leading to the downside here. Tech stocks also under pressure. FTNT and Adobe now, and TYL. Notable names to the upside. Pretty much everything else, though, in that group back in negative territory. Here's the cruise lines. Booking.com leading 10.5, but NCLH, CCL, and RCL all here, along with LVS, Win, and Expedia to the downside. I mentioned Etsy, 3.5% to the upside. Caesars notably higher as well. 2.5% in positive territory. Moderna up big time, almost 10%. It was 10% at one point, but 9.6 currently on their forecast for COVID vaccines going forward, so better than expected. So a nice jump today for Moderna. Everything else, though, in the pharmaceuticals group lower. Consumer staples, material stocks under pressure. Same story. Far corner over there is the energy group to the downside, even with a huge spike in oil today, going the opposite direction. So 1.5%, guys, for the S&P to the downside. Back over to you.
All right, we'll ring the register again, man, as AMD just goes to the downside. Look where we're short, man. We're almost $1 now in the money. I mean, I'm yelling these trades out for everybody. Like, this is a short. We just took it, man. AMD 109.13 short here on AMD. This is the 20 period chart. Not going to be of much help, but there it is right there, short off this. Now we're going to the downside, and I'm trying to show you my executions here because we do have some on it, obviously. So AMD to the downside right now. Where's my execution chart to show you real quick? There it is. Okay, so it's actually loading not bad now. Again, you have to have the chart called up. So anybody at Day Trade the World, just look at the same name. There it is, 109.60, and there's the out right there. We'll hold this now for lower. Alibaba, obviously another name here that's just continuing to make lows. We got out a piece there, but obviously we're holding a piece as well, right? And so sometimes it's easy to trade some of these names, but there goes Alibaba straight to the downside. That's another name. And then Ford, we're kind of just like waiting for Ford to do something. I don't really know what it's going to do. It's bouncing right now. I don't want to go long at this level. We've obviously switched to the short. We have AMD and BOVA short. I'd rather play with those. BOVA $3 in the money, AMD 70 cents in the money, and Ford 40 cents to the money long. So with only 15 minutes left in the day, it's going to be a show, an hour morning show. Yep, you're right. Wait out for Trader Pratt and Ms. V. Should be a hot one there for Market Movers in the midday show. But wow, what a morning this has been. And I learned something. I don't need charts.
Apparently, like, remember, like, our execution's been here the whole time. So it's like, if you have orders out there and we have our stops in place, like, that's all been fine. It's just a matter of showing you guys the executions has been troubled at a time. But I mentioned Moderna at 150. So it had, look, Moderna reported earnings. It was a bit of a mixed bag. I didn't think it was all that great. But I guess sometimes it's fallen down so far that the only place to go was up, I suppose. But that 150, it has broken several times in the last week. That's what I was trying to show you a little bit earlier. But this is 150 breaking in the last week. It's gone up to like 102s, sorry, 52, 53s, and then started to fail at that particular price. And that's what we get at the distinction between a hard stop area and like a target range, right? So in this case, you're looking at a target range for something like a Moderna. If you're shorting 150, are you really wrong till it breaks like 54 or 55? I don't think you are. And a lot of times to me that means that's a that's more like a $3 to $5 range up at the top, and you can't get in till it at least goes halfway. So I'm not in Moderna, and if it had gone to 52 half, 53, I probably would be into this trade. You're seeing it pull back now, and if it retests that high, just look at how much it's rejected. Like, sellers have been coming en masse for the entire week at that particular price. So it got close. If you want to jump in early, yeah, you can have 150. Just understand how much you're giving it. It's giving you a 1-to-1 trade if you took it from 150 risk to reward, but that took all of a half an hour for it to happen, and it never quite got to the price I liked. Look, I mean, if you're still in NCLH and Lemonade, good for you. The levels I like, I think Lemonade could fall to about 1850 or so. NCLH, it really needs to get back down to like 1675 to be a real failure. And just to come back over to INDO, I know someone was saying in the chat they think it's still going to be going up. Like, get it, I'm sure. Like, I took more shares out in front of 1250. It's hard to disagree with you when somebody is clearly defending 1250 and does not want it to breach that price. And as long as they're there, given how small the float is, it's likely going to make the breakup. That's the reason to take more out. But if that level breaks at 1250, you're long, it's going to go down $1, $1.50 at that point if it breaks this level. But it hasn't happened yet, so congratulations if you're holding the long. I just feel like it's thin here. You should be taking profit in front of 14 in case it doesn't break back out. Because as fast as these go up, this was a $2 stock in late January. It was a $4 stock last week. As fast as it's gone up, it being back at $7 or $8 is not, like, it's not crazy at all. It can be there in 1 week. So make your wins on the day trade, make your wins on the swing for a couple of days, but at some point this is likely to come back in, and that 1250 breaking is going to be an early start for that.
Yeah, we tried to reload, actually. We tried to reload our AMD here. We might still get it 109.30 on a reload here for AMD. So that's something that I'm looking at here. If we can get that, we'll take it. So just so you guys know, the update, that's 108. 109. There we go. We're just in it now. So no need to update it. There it is. New position, not new position, added to our current position here on AMD as it continues to go to the upside. We're using 110 as our... Bless you. Hello. We are using 110 as our stop. So let's see. And again, this, I shouldn't even be in this because you can see here the NASDAQ is now taking out and supporting these bottoms right there. So the NASDAQ has supported it. So now we're starting to go back up to the upside. I do actually expect, I hate when I say this, but I do expect to actually get taken out of this name right now as it's going to take out 110. So there it goes. AMD is off up to 110. We'll be out of this one once it breaks. And maybe it's, I probably put it a little bit higher than this. Let me make sure I did. Yeah, I did 110.25. I told you that we're not going to use like the exact levels, but there it is, 110. Area of concern for us as AMD finally here. It looks like a name that we're going to pay the piper on here. AMD to the upside. We are short 109.52 off of this. So if we can get something back out here, 109.50, I think we should do that. The market is ripping here.
Yeah, and the market ripping, this is BOVESPA still consolidating off of VWAP here. So relatively weak, it's still there. And the other name that we just were talking about was Block. They still have yet to report, and we'll talk about earnings coming up. But still not even at that 90. Like we looked at that wick top on the 15-minute. We got to 91 and then had that quick little failure. It's not even pushing the higher low on Block at this point. So, you know, that strength that's in the overall market, I still think it's overall in big tech and some of these other names that have risk. The sellers are taking advantage of some of these prices, it seems. I still want it closer to 90. If you're not wrong till 91 breaking, then shorting at 89 I don't absolutely love. The risk to reward, I'm looking for it to make one more spike and then try to get into that trade. Clover was one that I guess I anticipated Clover was going to be an entry for me at that open. At this point, it's still strong. I keep thinking it's going to test that $2, and it does not seem to want to. The other side of the trade would be if we break out from here, look at the 250 level, right? A lot of consolidation there, and it fell off a cliff at 250. So if we don't get $2 to the long side, then I guess I'm looking 250 shorts on Clover. That could be something that we're watching through lunchtime and in the afternoon show when we're back at 2 o'clock. Clover, of course, reporting this morning and having a decent short interest.
Yeah, so we did get out of AMD there, so that's going to be a fail. So we'll stamp that one. Profit early, we took a decent spot and then we lost it again on an average in. So it is going to be obviously a negative stock for us there today. And I really shouldn't be shorting AMD, but Microsoft, wow, 282 back to day's high again. That had some good bouncing off the 50 period. So I'm just really glad that we've like identified the 50 period and been able to look at some key levels here for us today. So all is well, really. I mean, the market, thank God, we battled back a little bit here today in this market because it was pretty nasty for a bit there. Facebook got pretty low. Facebook might take out. We only have 10 minutes to go now. Facebook may head back, man. I mean, maybe Facebook does come. So there's the gap. We have an hour worth of a gap, which is fine for now. We can see some of these levels. 197 up there is the high for this name, Facebook. Facebook was pretty aggressive the last couple days. So maybe there is going to be something here on this name today, up to 198 on Facebook. And then Palantir, wow, I still cannot believe these longs that we had here. $10 and then 10.40 there. So, I mean, what a great trade Palantir turns out to be today. Unfortunately, we don't hold enough for that big move to the upside. So, all right, I think it's been so far so good here today. Sorry about the sort of the chart mishap, but I think we've done pretty good. Ford, again, trying to take out new highs, 1670. We're still long at 07 on Ford as well. So it's been a good day, and it's about to get better with Brendan at the big screen. Let's check out crypto. We actually haven't looked at that.
No, we have not at all.
Hey guys, yeah, wild day for stocks, wild day for currencies as well. Big numbers on this board today, all because of moving the US dollar, obviously. The flight to safety includes the US dollar, so 1.4% to the upside at this point for the DXY. If you remember, just going back to last week, we were talking about 95.5 on DXY. We're taking out 97.5 currently, so recent highs right now. For the US dollar, 1.4% to the upside. The euro, 1.6 to the downside, all the way back to 1.11 right now for the euro. The Canadian dollar, same story, full percent lower, 77.7. British pound down almost 2% at this point today, 1.32 in negative territory. Typically, as we see higher volatility, we get a move to the Japanese yen and Swiss franc as well. So positive on the day for these two. Australia and New Zealand, big time in negative territory. Cryptos as well, big time in negative territory. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple all 4+% to the downside, guys. Back over to you.
And speaking about crypto there, Coinbase, which it's made a bit of a bounce. It's still down about 2%. I don't think we pointed this out, but Coinbase right on the shelf of a huge level on the daily chart here, 162.5. You're going to see this level, I mean, a couple of times at January bottom on Coinbase. So, as we sort of press towards it here, there was, a bit of a bounce off of that level, here this morning. But that's key price. It's certainly a key price here on Coinbase and worth watching. In case this market pulls back in, you want to see what got defended today. What was reestablished, what levels got broken, where are we running away from? Well, 162 got defended pretty well, at least initially here on Coinbase, and that's a pretty key one. That buyer on INDO, I'm telling you, man, they're not going away. It just broke it again. So it's just another capitulation candle. It broke it for a couple of seconds, and then they jumped right back on the bid at 1250. So even though it just fell back into that price, someone still seems to want to buy this stock up. As long as that happens, it runs a high risk of breaking the top and then making another halt to the upside. But if you're trading this, 1250 is clearly the line in the sand. It holds below that price, and it's likely to at least drop about 10% from there. You said earlier we're throwing it to Trader Prad and Miss Fee. We're throwing it to Platinum Prad. And Miss V, just going to make a quick correction on that one. It's been a wild day, but don't forget, we still have headline risk at any particular moment.
Yeah.
We still obviously have some earnings to get to, and we talked a little bit about Block. And overall, we're still going to get some inflation data. So the fireworks not done. I expect the midday show to be absolutely bonkers and the close to be even more so.
Yeah, if we can, guys, hit the like button ASAP, man. It's been a good show. We've battled through a lot of adversity here today, and I want to thank everybody for joining us. I mean, that's ultimately what it's all about. We're still short on Alibaba, $2.40 in the money on this name. It did get as low. This is the 200 period, so it did get as just on a 1 minute chart. It did get pretty low here, guys. So that's something. 104.60. We'll look at that. My initial bid was down here at 103.30 or so. So I still think that if we take down this 104, we do like it to come back in here, but who knows? I'm just holding something. I feel like we got to, although the market's blasting right now, and go Ford, go again for us as Ford trying to go higher here, but just so you know, there goes Ford right here. I'm going to hold Alibaba. I think a weak name into a market that, like we said, could dump at any time. So let's watch out for Ford here and Alibaba, and then Apple back up to 158, still down 2%. 156. Apple's still down, which is kind of strange to me. How much it's down? It's down that 2% today. So that's a little strange with the market only being almost flat now. Apple probably takes this out. This is a good looking long here for Apple. It shouldn't be down 2.5 when the market's down 0.38. So I feel like that's bad for Apple, and I don't know why that's so down. Considering Microsoft is up 1%, Apple down 2.5. So that's a strange one for me, but we pegged this one long, guys. 270. I hope some of you still have that. It's Brendan.
Right, busy week for earnings as we've been talking, guys. Number last night, maybe about the same tonight as well. So let's get you set for what's to come after market tonight and before the open tomorrow. Here we go with some earnings.
Oh, geez. Beyond Meat was like $40. I don't even know what Beyond Meat is at right now, but I'm
not even guessing. That's Coinbase we were just talking about. But.
Oh yeah, Coinbase, eh? Foot Locker's been a good one. We'll wait out to see about Foot Locker because of supply chain issues and whatnot, and of course getting products from China. Obviously, Nike, one of their big suppliers there, going to get hit on supply chain issues. I see Square right in the middle. I think you mentioned that. I don't know. That's Block. Right there, yeah. And then Rocket companies, Rocket mortgages there. We'll see if that can get going there. And they did have the NBA All-Star game. So if you played SoFi because they had the Super Bowl, you may not want to repeat that same action because SoFi.
They're also really aggressive. Oops, what was that? I was gonna say Rocket Mortgages are really aggressive in college sports, man. Like you're always seeing the.
Isn't it the Michigan State sponsor? Or
Oh, good.
one of
Yeah,
them?
it's MSU. Well, I'm a Michigan State fan, so I guess I probably see in Big Ten. You see a heck of a lot of more of those ads. Ocugen also on that list, and we know that name has been a bit of a mover. They just pulled the rug with a bit of an offering, so that report should be interesting to say the least.
I should have known something was up, and this is a true story. I went there. You might have saw me get up like at 8:45 or something. I walked over there and got some ibuprofen because I was like, oh, am I getting a little bit of a headache? And then all of a sudden, all these things start to happen. So good thing I did have that, or else my head would be pounding even more right now. Yeah, you want to look at Rocket? Let's look at Rocket quickly. People saying good shout out for that company. Look, I'm invested into Rocket companies, not at these prices, at a hell of a lot higher. We were able to get out of this. This was one of those names that went nuts. They did a special dividend of $1 when this was all going crazy back in a year ago today. It was this earnings report back in February, so a year ago today. This stock was going nuts. You could see a nice little move up today. Let's check it out on the daily chart quickly here for Rocket. Yeah, down to 11. And if you look back, there it is. So here it is right here. Back nuts last year at this time when they were trying to squeeze people out. It was part of that whole thing. So we'll have to wait to see now. Rocket companies tomorrow, $10. I think I'd go long on this and see what happens on a possible squeeze to the upside.
One more thing we got to do.
Let's do it.
Before we send you off to Platinum Prad and Miss V, is to go to Miss V. We need to find out what national day it is. That's the real question.
Thank you, Neil, and hey guys, thank you so much for spending this morning with us. I hope you're all in a profitable territory, and please don't leave without giving this video a like. We're super close to 2,000. Join Prad and me right after to continue this crazy, interesting day, and happy National Tortilla Chip Day, everyone.
What was that?
I can't see it.
National...
Well, it's chili, obviously, but.
Is it chili? Okay,
is it a type of chili or
paella? Oh, chili. Okay,
just chili.
Yeah, I'm down with chili. The wife makes a sick chili. You know what's a good tip here? Pumpkin. You could put pumpkin in chili, and it's actually really sweet. Makes it a little tasty there. But I love chili, and I like it on a cold sweet potato too. Yeah, little chunks of sweet potato, fantastic in chili. But yeah.
It's a go-to for like big football games.
I was gonna say it's like a cold fall.
Yeah, man.
I'm down.
I'm down with it. Actually, I'll eat it any time of the year. But you know what? The key thing for eating chili is fresh bread.
Yes.
Like make your own fresh bread. That's the way to go, man. Like it's just the perfect way to make sure. It's like a dipping thing, man. I just have to have the fresh bread, and then you sop it up at the end. Anyways, it's close to lunchtime. I'm actually hungry. If you can't really tell. We talked a little bit about the earnings still coming through. Just keep in mind these markets. Still, I mean, the ES and the NASDAQ have a bit of a divergence here, right? So you're noticing what is moving. NASDAQ almost going green. The ES not even close to it. The Dow also a bit of a divergence as well. So make sure you understand what pockets are going, which ones aren't. What's happening in big tech isn't necessarily following through in some of your older, more established names. But Trader Pratt and Miss V are going to be there for you. Big shout out to our good friend Greg, who just a reminder for everybody. Greg is going to be hiring. So anyway, I know we haven't thrown the graphic up there, and we probably should have at some point today. Maybe we can throw it up again. But Greg is going to be hiring. If you're in the GTA and you want to join our trading floor,
show. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll put it on Prad's show to make sure you guys can get that link. I just realized that we hadn't actually done that, and we are going through that process. Going to get some full seats back here.
Yes.
Got a couple of guys now. Shout out to Brandon and both Luca. But we want to make sure we get this full like it used to be, Sean.
Yeah, we will do that, and we'll put it, if we can't get it on the graphic, we'll put it in the chat. So stay tuned. It is almost that time. I'll just wrap it up here, Neil. I want to give a big thank you to everybody today. Thank you to our IT team as well in the background, working super hard to get that chart server going again, and thank you for doing that. It was a little chaotic there at the beginning. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for being patient with us. We're back. We're back. The three of us are back at 2 p.m. But right now, let's go over to Market Movers with Trader Pratt and Miss V. Good luck, everybody.
That's right. You're here at the best show on the internet, Market Movers with Miss V and Trader Pratt. Hope everyone's having a great time. And we're about to kill it in this market. You know, lots of fun movements happening.
Oh, yes. Welcome, guys. I hope you're having a great day so far. As Brad said, please make sure you like this video. We need your support really much. And as usual, be active on the chat. Ask us any